Okay. Welcome to
Recording in progress.
the March 12, 2024 Millbrae City Council meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:16 p.m. City Clerk, did you receive any requests for virtual meeting participation from members of the City Council?
Yes, we did. We received a request from Vice Mayor Goodman.
Thank you, City Clerk. Vice Mayor Goodman, there is a few legal requirement to participate remotely, and the City Clerk have prepared 3 questions to address these requirements for you.
Vice Mayor Goodman, please generally describe the circumstance relating to the need to participate remotely.
Family emergency.
So under emergency circumstance, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And so question number 2, please confirm that you will have audio and video throughout the meeting.
Correct.
Okay. Lastly, please disclose if there are any individual over 18 present in the room, and if so, the general nature of their relationship to you.
No, there aren't any.
Okay. So, under emergency circumstance, there will be a vote needed.
Okay, so for Vice Mayor
Move
Goodman
approval.
hold on. So for Vice Mayor Goodman to participate remotely under AB 2449, emergency circumstances, the council will need to take a vote to allow the request. Can we have a motion?
Move approval.
We got a motion from Pappen, second from Angelina Cahalan. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Snyder?
Aye.
Councilmember Pappen?
Yes.
Councilmember Cahalan?
Aye.
Mayor Fung?
Aye.
The motion passes by 4-0.
Thank you for joining us, Vice Mayor. Okay, so City Clerk, roll call, please. For everybody.
Okay. Councilmember Snyder?
Present.
Councilmember Pappen?
Yes.
Councilmember Cahalan?
Here.
Vice Mayor Goodman?
Here.
Mayor Fung?
Here.
All members of the City Council are present. At least 4 members of the City Council are present in the council chamber. Vice Mayor is participating virtually, has not exceeded the annual limits. And the city is providing a two-way audio-visual platform where the public can remotely hear and visually observe the meeting.
So we did the Pledge of Allegiance earlier at the special council meeting earlier today, so we're going to skip that. So we'll go right first to the first item, the ceremonial presentation. The first proclamation we're doing today is the proclamation March 12, 2024 as Equal Pay Day. In our last council meeting on March 7th, we celebrated International Women's Day. As a country, we're working towards gender equality every day. And obviously, this has been a long time coming. We ensured women's right to vote in 1920, women's right to choose in 1973, with a landmark decision. And today, we're still fighting for women's right to their fair share of equal pay. And not 81 cents on a dollar, but true equal pay, so that both my wife and my daughter and everybody else can live in a world where gender equality is not just an aspiration, but also a reality. So today, we, the Millbrae City Council, will do our part and proclaim March 12, 2024 as Equal Pay Day. So today, we are honored to have a member from the American Association of University Women, Gayton Andrews, receiving this proclamation. Ms. Andrews. Please join us at the podium.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mr. Williams, the manager. Oh, am I speaking directly into and everyone present? My name is Gayton Andrews, and I lived in Millbrae 56 years, so I've been here a long time. And this was published about Equal Pay Day this morning, very early this morning, and by NPR News by Andrea Hodge, HSU. So this is Equal Pay Day has come around again, and it feels little like Groundhog Day. Despite the annual reminder about how far in the new year women have to work to earn as much as men made the previous year, the wage gap remains persistent. And women working full-time year-round earn 84 cents for every dollar men make, inching up from 83.7 cents last year, according to the latest numbers from the Census Bureau. But that amount falls to 0.78 cents when you include seasonal and part-time workers, who account for roughly a third of women in the U.S. workforce, according to the National Partnership for Women and Families. That results in a difference of $11,450 in earnings over the course of a year, based on median annual pay. The group found for women of color, the pay gap is even bigger. Women's labor force participation is the highest it has been in decades, and the gender pay gap is narrowest it has ever been on record. Yet despite this progress, the fight for equal pay continues, stated President Biden in a proclamation released Monday by the White House ahead of Equal Pay Day. Women with master's degrees earn 72 cents for every dollar earned by men with the same degree, and they earn less than men with only high school diplomas. And there is a whole lot more, but this is kind of a brief research, and they will continue to do the research. Next year will be maybe a little different. Maybe they'll get closer, to Equal Pay Day, and so we'll have to wait and see. And thank you for inviting me.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us, Ms. Andrews. Any council member, please, Ms. Pappen.
Thank you for that very detailed presentation here. Our proclamation probably should have included much of that.
Yeah.
Because it is the reality. You did a fabulous job.
Oh.
I greatly appreciate it. And I'd also like to acknowledge that just 2 years ago, the California Constitution enshrined a woman's protective reproductive rights, but everything is still under attack.
Yeah.
And it is a constant battle.
Yeah,
So
there-
thank
there's-
you so much. You did beautifully. I
Oh,
really
thank you. I
appreciate it.
mean, thank you for inviting me, really.
Thank you for joining us, Ms. Andrews. Anyone else have any comments? No? Okay, Ms. Andrews, would you please join us with a photo at the podium, please?
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Next up, we have proclamation proclaiming March 25th, 2024 as Greek Independence Day. And Ms. Pappen, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. Since my original last name was Papandreopoulos, it's an honor to present, and we have some of our Greek community here tonight to accept this proclamation. Whereas Greek Independence Day is celebrated annually on March 25th to commemorate the start of the Greek Revolution of 1821. On March 25th, 1821, the people of Greece declared their independence and liberty from the Ottoman Empire, which occupied Greece for nearly 400 years. On that day, Bishop Eurakamos of Patros hoisted the Greek flag at the monastery, I'm going to mess this up, of Agia Lavros, inciting the Peloponnese to raise against their oppressors. And after many years of war, with the reinforcements from Great Britain, France, and Russia, the people of Greece won their independence from the Ottoman Empire on September 14th, 1829. Greece, the birthplace of democracy, was at liberty again. And the cry of freedom or death became the motto of the revolution and became forever immortalized on the Greek flag. And Greek Independence Day embodies the symbol of victory and survival for all those who were oppressed. In recognition of overcoming their oppressors, this day honors their victories by hosting parades, military demonstrations, and speeches. Across Greece, there are school-organized parades in which children march with the Greek flag while dressed in traditional costumes. And the city of Millbrae acknowledges Greek Independence Day and honors the heritage of more than 3 million Americans of Greek descent. Now, therefore, we, the members of the Millbrae Council, do hereby proclaim March 25th, 2024 as Greek Independence Day. And we have members of the Soldatos family, Dean's Produce, if you would like to join us here and say a few words.
Today we have Deans, we have Angelina, and we have Jasmine. Please join us at the podium.
Where's it?
Let's see if this works. Okay, it does. Yay. Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and esteemed City Council members. My name is Angelina Soldatos. I know some of you know me, and I know a lot of you very well. I am the middle child of the Soldatos family up here at the podium, my sister Jasmine, and my baby brother Dean. We are all honored to accept this on behalf of our parents who could not be here this evening because we let my 70-year-old father, who still works our stores, go home and get some rest. I would like to say a brief thank you to the community of Millbrae. We have been here for 20 years. My father opening our produce market here has afforded us immeasurable things, starting with breaking generational traumas and cycles. My siblings and I, because of Dean's Produce, were able to go to college. We are the first children in our family to seek higher education and obtain graduate degrees. So I'd like to thank all of you. I hope that we are here for another 20 years. Millbrae embodies the Greek spirit. Greek Independence Day symbolizes tenacity. It symbolizes freedom. It symbolizes, oh my gosh. It symbolizes still being here. We survived. But we realize, being in a community like Millbrae, that that is a shared experience with many immigrants, with many individuals in this community. Thank you so much.
And if we can, I'd like to congratulate our newest citizen, your husband, Spiros, just became a citizen.
And we certainly want you to be here more than, not just 20s, but maybe 200 years. Yeah. The whole family, so.
Okay,
Thank you.
get a photo.
Yes. That was wonderful. Okay, all right. We move on to agenda review and staff briefing. City Manager Tom Williams, could you please
Yes.
provide a city manager update?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. Good evening to you, members of the City Council. Again, Tom Williams, City Manager. So just a quick update on the slides on things that are happening. So if we go to the first slide. We have our ongoing sanitary sewer main cleaning and closed circuit television, known as CCTV inspection program that has kicked off. We continue to regularly clean and inspect segments of our sanitary sewer system on 5-year cycles. We're currently going to embark, actually starting tomorrow, 9 miles of sanitary sewer main. Sewers range in diameter from 6 inches to 33 inches. The area, you can hardly see, and I apologize, but everything in green is our sewer mains. Everything in purple includes the 6 miles or the 9 miles of inspection. And the nice thing about this is we're keeping a record of the condition of our sewer mains, where there's cracks, what we need to come back on our capital improvement program to repair and maintain. So this is and I know Councilmember Pappen will like this. This is a start of some really nice record keeping that we have within our infrastructure program. Okay, next slide. So we hosted a commission and committee training on March 7th. I would like to thank our legal counsel for preparing that. It was very well attended. I'd also like to thank our city clerk. They tag team on providing a nice training for committee and commissioners on the Brown Act, Records Request Act, rules of order of how to conduct a meeting. And so it was a real nice, this is, I think is the third consecutive year that we've done this for our commission and committee members. And all in all, I think city clerk, we had up 36 attendees. So just a nice training, and wanted to also thank our volunteers, everyone that volunteers for committee and commission, and appreciate their work. We'll be starting our annual recruitment there on the right for commission and committee vacancies beginning in April. The following vacancies, if anybody is interested, is our Community Enhancement Advisory Committee, our Cultural Arts Advisory Committee, our Economic Vitality Advisory Committee, our Senior Advisory Committee, and our Sister Cities Commission. We have one opening on each of those commissions. So anybody's interested to learn more, they can log into our website and all the information is there. Next slide. So our spring activity guide is out. We've mailed them out and they're arriving in mailboxes throughout the city. You can also log on to our website for any information, but we have many wonderful classes, camps that are available for all ages, from toddlers to seniors. We literally have something for everyone. Also, what is popular is that's a photo of Central Park. We added a new picnic area and barbecue. You can't see, but it's just on that photo, it's just to the left of the play equipment, the play yard there. And it is the most popular request that we have. So that is now known as Picnic Site 4 next to the playground. You can contact or log on to our website for reservations as spring and summer is just around the corner. Next slide. So upcoming events. We're excited to host this year's Summer Camp Fair. That is scheduled for March 15th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Millbrae Recreation Center. This is to learn about our summer camps and programs and sign up for the programs at the fair. This is for parents. The first 100 guests will receive free pizza. And so more information, again, you can contact or log on to our website under our recreation department. Also for the parents, there's also a tailored dance that night. And so parents can drop off their kids at the Taylor dance and then come over and learn about our summer camp and everything that's going on, just walking distance from Taylor Middle School. So again, that's this Friday, March 15th from 4 to 7 p.m. Next slide. Also, we are conducting a tree ordinance community engagement and outreach. Our public workshop is scheduled for Thursday, March 21st. That's a week from this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. It will be on the second floor of the Recreation Center. So we want to hear from the community about our proposed ordinance that we share with the City Council, receive great feedback and direction from the City Council. And so we will hear from the community and present that information and then bring that back to the City Council. And so that very important tree ordinance workshop, Thursday, March 21st, starting at 6:30 p.m. on the second floor of the Recreation Center. Next slide, please. And then continuing with our upcoming events, we have on Saturday, March 30th, the Millbrae Library Discover and Explore Things That Go is the title, Things That Go, from 10 a.m. to 12:30. So you can drop by the library and interact with vehicles of all shapes and sizes from the community that will display their vehicles, recycling trucks, SPCA animal rescue vehicles, a fire truck, library, maker's mobile, and more. So please, if you're interested, again, Saturday, March 30th, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And then next slide, please. This is the upcoming Rotary Spring Festival. This is scheduled for March 30th at Central Park. The time is 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. This is in partnership with the Rotary Club. There'll be crafts, games, relay races, prizes, a special visit from the Easter Bunny, and an egg hunt. An egg hunt for kids that are ages 9 and under begins at 1 p.m. And again, this is at Central Park, March 30th, starting at 11 a.m. And I believe that concludes a very quick update on everything that's happening in the city the last couple of weeks.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Mr. Yep, thank you, City Manager. Next up is the approval of minutes for regular meeting minutes on November 28th, 2023, and also a special meeting minutes on December 7th, 2023. Any council comment discussions? Ms. Schneider.
Council comment. We've been abbreviating the minutes because we so count on video recording, but there are many people that will not watch the whole minutes. And in this set of minutes for the first time, council comments at the end simply say there were council comments. And that bothers me because I don't think the public has any idea what we do in addition to council meetings. It's also our way of telling other council members what we're working on and how it may impact the city. So I'll vote for this set of minutes, but I will not vote in the future for minutes that simply say, hey, people, you want to hear what your council is doing, go watch the video on that. In my pre-elected days, I would read minutes to know where elected officials were on particular issues so that we were following them. And it's so abbreviated now that I know we have video, but not everybody has time to watch all the video. And by the time we comment, and sometimes we don't comment at all because we've run till 11 o'clock or midnight, that the public doesn't know what we're doing. And that concerns me. So that's my comment.
Well, I think this begs for a deeper discussion at some further point in time. The problem with that is then we have to use our discretion on what we put in the minutes and not put in the minutes. And we don't want to take the liberty to pick wrongly. So I think it is better that we have video, we have technology, and we can just refer people to the video so they can hear everything themselves. And we're not left trying to decide, exactly what we should put in the minutes and not put in the minutes on a verbatim. So, but I think we can talk, maybe add some more summary.
Well, even just that we
it's
attended
very difficult.
Metropolitan Transit Commission, or we attended this, or we attended that. The public should know, and anybody planning on running for office should know that it's not just 2 meetings a month.
Well,
it's by far more than that.
Yeah, I mean, the point of this is to report out, not.
Yeah, but now
not
it doesn't
for
report
political
anything.
reasons.
It doesn't say a thing.
All right, so I think a deeper discussion at some future point in time.
So we
Because
can.
we used to do that.
We
but
can
then-
agendize that discussion to figure
I
out
think-
what would be best to put in and have those guidelines. We can bring it back if you so choose to have a discussion so that the staff knows what to do.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, we can agendize it for
So
discussion.
this is the first time I've seen it not happen in minutes. So we have been doing it up until this particular set of minutes that we're approving.
Okay, so we can agendize as a further discussion item in the future, if you so choose. I just want to make sure that the staff can get their job done. I do know that the city clerk and everybody else have a lot on their plate these days. And trying to get things done, getting agenda packet ready is not an easy task. So, but if more discussion is required, I'm happy to bring it back for a future discussion. Okay.
It doesn't have anything to do with the agenda packet. It has to do with transparency in government and making sure that the public understands the things that we do as we represent them. So I can see staff not saying, oh, Ann said this about Bosqua or that about Bosqua, but that she attended Bosqua, and where you can go to get those minutes on that, because that does impact water rates, as just one example. And each one of us represents different committees or commissions, and we report out on things that they should know. And we don't comment out until the very end of the meeting, whereas at other city councils, they do their council comments up front.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we can certainly agendize this as a future discussion to figure out the level of details that we wish to put in to these meeting minutes.
No good deeds, but we will agendize it. So thank you, Mayor.
All right, sounds good. Do we have any other comment or discussions on these meeting minutes?
Yeah, I'm not sure we have a consensus here. I do agree with Ms. Schneider. We need some details here, but I don't think we need a full agenda item here. If we can make some suggestions to staff, there should be a record that's visual. So I agree with Ms. Schneider on that front, and I think the city manager has acknowledged we need some more details in addition to the link for what the meeting stated. So can we be clear on that request, or are we going to go for a full agenda item?
We'd be happy to just report the attendance rather than get in then to the dialogue of what a council member says and doesn't say and what they report and what they not, and then we can reflect or provide the link to people that would like to listen to it. So we can keep a record of such and such council member said that they attended this meeting on this date.
For the public, other regional committees actually do record attendance. We, as a city of Millbrae, don't record attendance except at city council meetings on that. So there's some flexibility in how to do that. But if you were to list whatever meeting, and here's a link to
The attendance is
that.
for whatever committee you go to. That's their job. And then they provide it to us. So we don't go to every subcommittee meeting or every regional meeting to do attendance. We get that from those.
And our
those bodies and
protocols
those clerks.
dictate that we talk about the meetings that we attend. That is in our protocol as council members. So we're supposed to, at that council comment, to state that.
And that's correct. And
then
that's
in the
all
minutes,
you
it's
should say.
Well,
Correct.
no, that isn't,
Yeah.
because sometimes that's the only time we can share information that crosses committees.
I can read the protocols when we get to that, because there is, if I may, Councilmember Snyder, a lot of dialogue that actually shouldn't be said when we get to those reporting. The purpose of that agenda item is just to report to the public, as you said, what happened at those committee meetings or those regional meetings that you attended. But there's a lot of commentary that is reported, but we can, I think, Mr. Mayor, we can get into that once we get to that item, just so the council's clear on what the purpose of that agenda item is.
Because at this point, this particular agenda item right now is approval of minutes. So I'd like to get to a vote on that. Now, if there's a discussion to be had with regard to how future minute needs to be done and level of detail that would be acceptable to this council, and if we don't have a consensus right now, I'd like to agendize it.
I would like to move approval of the minutes with a note that we need to expand on council comments in the future.
Okay?
I'll second that. Oh, I'm sorry, Maurice, Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor, beat me to it.
Vice Mayor, did you second the motion, Mr. Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Snyder,
Aye.
Councilmember Pappen,
Yes.
Councilmember Cahalan,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Goodman,
Aye.
Mayor Fung.
Aye.
The two sets of minutes are approved by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you so much. And we don't have any oral report from City Committee and Commission Chair tonight. Moving on to public communication. This portion of the agenda is reserved for those who wish to comment on items not on tonight's agenda. However, speaker must address subject matter within the jurisdictions of the City Council. Every speaker will have 3 minutes, and the speaker is to address directly to the entire council, not individual council member nor the public. We will first begin with in-person speakers, and then we'll follow by speakers online. The first speaker we have here is Mr. Ed Musa.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I was listening to the Greek Independence Proclamation, loved it. I wish to someday be here to talk about a Palestinian proclamation for their independence and how they fought for their independence and self-determination and their own country. Right now, I wanted to talk about the issue that's going on in Palestine and Gaza, how we need humanitarian aid over there, how we need a ceasefire. And in respect to that, we're going to be holding a rally this Saturday at 1 o'clock. I'm inviting the whole mayor and the city council, staff, anybody who wants to come down. We're going to be having some speakers out there. It's going to start at 1 o'clock. We're going to have entertainment for younger kids, maybe to do a little artwork and send it back to the kids of Gaza. And hopefully it's a good turnout. Hopefully everybody that comes there hears what's going on and the humanitarian aid that's needed and the ceasefire that's definitely needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Musa. City Clerk, do we have anybody online?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you so much. Closing public communication. And moving on to consent calendar. We have item 5, 6, and 7. Item 5, adoption of a resolution accepting the Millbrae Recreation Center restoration project as complete and authorizing the filing of a notice of completion. Number 6, adoption of a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to execute an agreement for professional services with Woodard and Curran in the amount of $127,385 for the Prenda water tank inspection and assessment project, and authorizing the city manager or designee to execute all contract change order up to 10% project contingency of $12,715 for additional or unforeseen work for a total project budget not to exceed $140,100. Item number 7, adoption of a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to execute a professional service agreement with GHD Incorporated for the Hacienda Way Sanitary Sewer Lift Station replacement, final design and cost analysis, and authorizing the city manager to execute all contract costs and change order up to $117,669. Does anyone want to pull any item from the consent calendar?
Mayor, with apologies, I'd like to pull agenda item 6.
Item number 6 is pulled.
Move approval of the other items.
Move
Second.
approval for 5 and 7. We have motion from Ms. Pappen and also second from Ms. Schneider. Anyone else? Any other comment? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Snyder.
Aye.
Councilmember Pappen.
Yes.
Councilmember Cahalan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Goodman.
Aye.
Mayor Fung.
Aye.
Consent item number 5 and 7 passed by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, now we're on to item number 6. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This was pulled by the council member. We're happy to answer any questions that any of you may have.
So,
Okay.
thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Manager. First of all, I think it was a fantastic staff report. And I read this, and to me, it looks like the tank needs replacement. So my question to you is, do we really need to spend $140,000, or can we simply come back at a future date asking to go out for an RFP for a new tank? It looks like it's in bad shape. And it's, if I remember my notes, it's 46 years old, and the lifespan is supposed to be 30 to 40 years. So why do a study to do a rebuild?
Great question, Councilmember Snyder. You know, we are trying to assess our facilities, and so this is the best way of seeing if we can use the tank. I mean, tanks do last a long time, but we just want to be prudent in making sure that we can use this tank, rehabilitate
Currently,
it. Yes.
you know, once it gets its chlorination level back up. Okay, so this would be a stopgap. If it passes, we stopgap as we plan and start collecting or setting aside funding to replace it. That's a good answer, if that's the case. Okay, in which case, it just does, I'm pretty amazed. It's 46 years with a lifespan of 30 to 40, so we got lucky there. But everybody, I would encourage you to go read that staff report, really good staff report. Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. City Clerk, can we do a roll call, please?
Councilmember Snyder?
Aye.
Councilmember Pappen?
Yes.
Councilman Cahalan?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Goodman?
Aye.
Mayor Fung?
Aye.
Consent item number 6 passed by a vote 5-0.
Thank you so much. We don't have any public hearings today, and so we're moving on to existing business, item number 8. Receive the Self-Help for the Elderly semi-annual update report and consider funding and assistance requests for the Millbrae Senior Lunch Program. And I assume today we have, yes, our representative from Self-Help for the Elderly. Please join us at the podium.
Good evening, Mayor Fung and Vice Mayor Goodman and City Manager Williams. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present on our services in Millbrae, the Senior Lunch Program. All see the screen? Okay. So our services in Millbrae Senior Lunch Program continues every day, Monday through Friday. We provide congregate meals, which serve seniors 60 plus and adults with disabilities, serving nutritious and loving hot meals 5 days a week. There are also activities and classes, which include physical and wellness exercises, educational and recreational activities, holiday and monthly birthday celebrations, field trips, of which you'll see some photos of those events. Nutrition education and consultation by a registered dietitian to provide to individuals, as well as quarterly group nutrition education. Services that are at Millbrae include home delivery meals. As we see an aging population, there's an also increased need in home delivery meal service that's centralized at our San Mateo Center that's available to qualified homebound individuals. There are 5 homebound Millbrae residents served daily for a total of 611 meals served to the residents for the period of July to December 2023. In this semi-annual report from July to December 2023, we wanted to highlight some program updates. There were 102 new clients that joined the Senior Lunch Program, 39 of which are Millbrae residents and 69 neighboring residents. In August, we had Sunrisa's free dental screening, December birthday celebration, and December Stop the Hate program workshop. Holiday celebrations that included Mid-Autumn Moon Festival, Thanksgiving, Christmas, in which 90 to 100 guests participated in the event. Some demographics for your review of Senior Lunch Program participants from the period July to December 2023. As you can see, we have separated the attendees, the participants, by gender, male, female, as they identify themselves. So the orange is female and the blue is male. We have a higher percentage of female participants, and this is according to the 22 census report, which lists that seniors age 60 and over are 27% of the population. Older adults age 50 to 59 are 17% of the population, and this is the largest segment of the Millbrae population. And combined, this will mean 44% of the population being seniors, if not now, but very, very soon. And this is a trend across not just Millbrae, but San Francisco, where by 2030, 30% of the population will be seniors. It really demonstrates the need for continued and sustained programs and services to meet this urgent and growing need. You can see that the population that has the highest attendance are those aged 70 to 79. They really need community supports. I'm sorry. Yes, Vice Mayor Goodman, did you want to comment?
No, sorry.
That's all right. The total participants were 272 during this period, of which Millbrae residents were 120, neighboring residents 152. The next slide will further disaggregate this data. From July to December 2023, The congregate meals program shows in green the total number of meals served each month. The blue are the meals served to Millbrae residents. The yellow are the meals served to neighboring residents. This is a disaggregation of also the data on the activities and classes attended. You could see our weekly activities and classes summary include chair exercises, in which a total of 268 participants participated. 28 are Millbrae residents and 178, there are 21 events and 178 Millbrae residents attendance, which is the number of times that they have attended, and 21 is the number of residents who attended. Total neighboring resident participants are 10. And this is consistent with our data showing our elderly population as the largest segment of the participants, and chair exercises are the safest for those elderly participants, 70 to 79, that we talked about earlier in the previous slide. Dance classes are very popular, 1,921 attendances, of which 48 are Millbrae and 57 are neighboring resident participants. For karaoke, 95, of which 18 are the Millbrae participants and 9 are the neighboring participants. Mahjong, 138 attendances, of which 104 are Millbrae residents. We find that with our older participants, Mahjong is a very good memory care game for folks to be able to remember and play and have fun at the same time. Tai Chi, 254 attendances, and there are 111 Millbrae residents that attend. Technology learning, 177 attendances, of which 11 are Millbrae participants and 23 neighboring participants. So you could see that there's quite a number of activities that actually serve a range of abilities and interests at our center. To further elaborate the activities and classes, the Sanrias dental screening, 22 participants attended, 10 are Millbrae residents and 12 are neighboring. Why is dental screening very important? Because having good oral health actually is the first step to continued nutrition, because being able to eat and have healthy food is very important to having good nutrition. Nutrition education, the Mid-Autumn Moon Festival and our annual walkathon, as well as the hate crimes information workshop, which had 23 attendants, 10 Millbrae residents and 13 neighboring residents. Following, we'll have photos of the activities and classes and special events that we had mentioned earlier. This is the dental screening, nutrition education, and hate crimes prevention information workshop. The Mid-Autumn Moon Festival, it was held at the San Mateo Central Park, as well as the annual walkathon.
There's your picture.
This is Mid-Autumn Moon Festival and Thanksgiving celebrations. Those are Christmas celebration, which we had the chief attend, Chief Allen and his family, as well as Sheriff Gordon, to serve lunch to our seniors. Thank you very much. Birthday celebrations at the Great Hall, and some of these are combined events with the seniors at the center, the rec center. And the new year has kicked off to a good start. We have the following scheduled. We've actually held our January self-defense workshop for seniors because there's still violence against seniors if you read the newspapers in San Francisco and all around. February Got Wheels transportation program update, and a March Stanford Medicine free health screening event, as well as a hepatitis B screening and presentation. We also had a first event of the Year of the Dragon celebration luncheon with our Mayor Anders Fung and Vice Mayor Goodman, as well as Councilmember Pappen, which we're very grateful for your support. And all was just really, everyone had a great time. Thank you very much. Other services offered in San Mateo County include our health insurance counseling and advocacy program, which is Medicare counseling for anybody who is eligible for Medicare. Our Stop the Hate program, located at the same location, to provide education and resources for anybody experiencing or wanting more information about hate crimes and reporting and safety. Senior escort services to provide escort services for those who are not able to make appointments, for example, medical appointments on their own without transportation. So we provide those services as well. This is the address of where we provide the senior lunch program as well as our San Mateo Activity Center. In Millbrae, we provide these services at the Chakotay Community Room here at 450 Poplar Avenue and San Mateo Activity Center at the 50 East 5th Avenue location, which is the Central Park location. That concludes my presentation for today. I also had a special request, if I may ask the council, is that this program is very valuable. Unfortunately, it is going through a very urgent financial crisis with the cost of food escalating, with the cost of staffing escalating, and limited budget from San Mateo County. We respectfully ask to relieve our financial burden, which we're paying $500 every month for custodial fees. And this is a huge cost for our small lunch program, which is growing in terms of participants and needs. And we respectfully ask to have this amount be waived, in addition to provide $10,000 in operational subsidies annually to continue to meet the growing needs of the aging population and make sure that we don't leave anybody behind who needs a hot meal. That is provided with love and care. So I would respectfully ask that the council consider this request, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Anyone? Oh, okay. Ms. Pappen first.
Thank you for a wonderful program and helping so many people in the community. And I know the vice mayor and the mayor and I had a wonderful time at the celebration and even danced a little. Hopefully that's not on film. But
It
I mean,
is.
it's a great program. And I really want to emphasize the significance of the dental reviews. And dental health is so important to your overall health. It was really nice to see the response from the seniors that attended. So I hope that that can continue. As to the request, this is very important. I think, too, that we should talk about getting some sponsors to help in the financing here, and maybe even some people from the Dental Association. But I think a lot of people in the community care deeply about this program, and we want to see it go. So individually, I think we can help. We do help. You guys have a wonderful fundraiser, but I get it. We're about to have a budget preview here too. But I think it's safe to say that this council's committed to this program. And so we look forward to working with you on that. I just don't know where we stand on the finance part, but definitely committed to helping defer that cost or get there somehow. So thank you so very, very much.
Okay. Ms. Schneider.
Thank you. I have a personal question. We missed the senior lunch, the regular Tuesday senior lunch that had chair exercise. And I have a 96-year-old that's pretty much what she needs. Is the chair exercise program at the Chakotay Room, or is it down in San Mateo?
It is in the Chakotay Room.
Okay. So terms, and I really would love to get my mother there. I'm going to have surgery in May where I probably can't be in a car, or can't drive for a month. And we use the county car services. But I've also been seeing the outreach vehicle around Millbrae more often. And I'm wondering if our staff and your group can help get the word out more. None of us, especially my generation or my parents' generation, they don't like to ask for help. It's really hard to ask for help. But I love everything that you're offering. I really will start, if I can get the date, I'll start bringing my mom because she's freezing up. Our seniors at home not exercising are literally, their joints are freezing on that. And she's got this program now because she just got released from the hospital a while ago. So I'm really glad to see that. I'm really glad to see the numbers showing so many more Millbrae people here. in terms of the $500, I know I've been the brat in the past, so I'm definitely open to waiving that, especially if we can try to get some of our Caucasian population to utilize some of these services, because I'm still very worried that we have many seniors of whatever race not tying into our program. So if we could work together on that. And I hate to think, so you said the county's money has been limited. Is that Measure K by any chance? What are those county funds?
We've applied for Measure K and we haven't heard back. We didn't get it last time.
Okay, so you've never gotten Measure K funds. So that is good to know.
Well, actually, they have very limited uses for Measure K. Previously, we've used it for our health insurance counseling advocacy program,
Okay.
HICAP, because that's what they restrict those uses are. And this time, they were also very restrictive.
Well, I can't remember. I think you and I were at the same meeting about what Measure K dollars should be used, and they specifically pulled out seniors as a category that should get Measure K. And as a caretaker, golly, I could use some help. So let's see, maybe you and I, we can even work on that. But I'm open to waiving the 500. If we can do some work and make sure all of our seniors know about this, and let's get more people into chair yoga. I just think that's super.
It's great. And also for your, just for your information, KCSM does a wonderful broadcasting of Sit and Be Fit, which is chair exercises, and any of our seniors who are at home and not able to join at the center can enjoy in the comfort of their own home. And it's done in the morning.
Oh, we wake up slowly. We have to have coffee. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ms. Cahalan?
Sorry, I just had two questions. One is most of your county funding through the Department of Aging and Adult Services?
It is all from the Department of Aging and Adult Services, yes.
And then my other question, you mentioned the small number of folks with home-delivered meals. Is there a larger demand for that, or are there wait lists? And could you say a little more about that?
The home delivered meals program is the most expensive program to operate because the cost of the meals and also having volunteers to deliver them. We always have a limited number of volunteers to do so, and the limited time of 2 hours delivery window for this food safety to deliver, and the San Mateo County being such a geographically wide space that it makes it very difficult to operate a program with volunteers, and expanding it makes it even more difficult. Yes, we are continuously looking at outreach programs to increase the number of volunteers, so we increase the number of participants and routes. But we're also always trying to find that balance of costs and volunteer help and participants that live in and around the routes where we currently operate.
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you for all your work. I also see Vice Mayor hands up. I want to make sure the Vice Mayor also get a chance to speak. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, yeah, thank you so much for the work you're doing on behalf of our seniors and our community families, because the work you're doing for our seniors ultimately supports our families. And I also wanted to just acknowledge, the work that you're doing also contributes to addressing the issue of loneliness with our seniors. Our county just issued a state of emergency around loneliness. And so having these opportunities for our seniors to be engaged and connecting with their community members, that's priceless. So I just want to say thank you for that. And then to the city manager, I'd just like to ask, what does that process look like? Is it a one-step process where we are presented with a waiver and a request for additional support, or is a waiver something we can do, probably at a next meeting or something like that, that's like readily available? And then is it something that we'd come back and address the additional support?
Mayor, yes, I would recommend that we bring it back for a budget action if so directed, and then consideration of the fee waiver.
And the support at the same time, that's what I'm asking. Is the waiver and support one process, or would it be separated out?
We could put it on the same agenda item.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Vice Mayor. I just want to be thankful that self-help continues to bring your volunteers, your resources, your food to feed our seniors every day. And the fact that how your service continue to activate our senior community, provided opportunity for our youth, additional, to work with our seniors, so that they don't feel lonely. And also give the youth an opportunity to show them how to use technology, how to use email, how to use Amazon, how to talk to Siri, how to use transit app, how to use Clipper card account on their iPhone, for example. I mean, those are the type of things that we don't get a chance to do that for our senior. I don't even get a chance to show that to my mother. But our youngsters are able to do that because of the service that you provide and the opportunity that not only you gave to our seniors, but to our youth together. Certainly, it's amazing to be able to dance with the senior during the Lunar New Year celebrations, the Moon Festivals, all of it. And just seeing how our seniors their lives are getting enriched every day. It's just an amazing scene. I cannot thank all your work enough. And I also remember during the pandemic, your volunteers were wearing PPE, fully face masks, some wearing two, I saw. Just to deliver a meal to our senior waiting in front, in a cold winter night, waiting in the front of the jacuzzi room, just handing out these lunch boxes when they're concerned about their own health. They should have stayed home. They could have stayed home and just stopped the meal service, but they chose to be here not because they're making money, but because they love our senior and they want to serve them. They understand that there's a senior out there who is waiting on a phone call or waiting for their meal or just waiting for that personal connection. And as tough as it may be at those times, and some of them chose to forget about it sometimes because, it's been so long ago. But I remember, and I think many of us still remember what all of you have done. So I want to make sure that this is front and center. I understand how rising costs of inflation, especially food costs. I mean, we just issued this morning. I was waking up at 7 o'clock this morning because the CPI just released was a 3.2% increase year over year. And it's a very stubborn inflation that we've been trying to deal with. So especially food costs is a very volatile thing, and I understand that take a toll on the work that you do. So, I don't look at this so much as a cost to us as much as I look at the investment we make to the people who are in our community every day. Our seniors, when they were younger, they contribute to our community and they didn't think about whether or not they're going to get any return on their investment. But I think it's our turn to also reward our senior for what they have done for all of us. So, I wholeheartedly support your program, and I think I would like to make a motion to support that program and the request you made on the fee waiver and the financial support. And I would love to entertain a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilmember Schneider. We have a motion and a second. There was, Ms. Pappen, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, so excuse me. Yeah, so I'm just curious because we have, is there another request that's going to come in? Because we've, for the last 2 years, waived the rental fee, set up breakdown fees for the jacuzzi room to the tune of $45,937.50. So is this the only request being made here, or, so I just want to make sure, because we do have budgetary concerns coming up here. Is this, because that will expire, it looks like June of this year, June 30th of this year. So, I just want to make sure.
So would you
we're
please
going.
repeat your request to the council so that we're all clear on the record?
Yes, I would like to request a waiver of $500 a month and an additional subsidy for annual operating costs at $10,000 per year for the next 4 fiscal years.
Okay, and that's my motion that I would make.
And then I guess my question to the city manager.
Legal, city manager?
No, not legal, the city manager. I'd just like to know the fiscal impact on the budget, given the current request. Because we have done this in the past, because it is a very important program. So if it's in line with the fiscal impact at this point in time, can you tell us that, or is this going to increase that?
So I would ask the question of self-help, when would the funding commence? If it commences July 1st, if that's your request, then we can analyze it and put it in the budget as part of the council direction. I don't know when you're asking for the $10,000 and the waiver of the $500 for the janitorial to commence.
That would be for the next fiscal year, 24-25, and for the subsequent following 4 fiscal years, inclusive of the next one.
Okay, so then given the council's direction, Councilmember Pappen, members of the council, Mayor, we can then, at your direction, fold that into the preparation of our annual budget when we bring it back for adoption, since this would commence July 1st in our fiscal year.
So it would be in the next year's budget?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So based on the direction tonight, it sounds like we would accommodate the request, put it in our budget, bring it to city council for review, adopt it with our budget process, and we would commence the payment and the waiver effective July 1st of this year.
So as the
That's the
second
time.
of the motion, just clarification, we're basically talking about $16,000 a year, a $10,000 donation, support, and a waiver of those fees, in addition to the room rental. And that's what would come back in the budget on that. So we're actually talking 3 funding areas.
2, isn't it? A
Because
waiver
we've been
and
waiving
financial
the
support.
fees
I think the
for the Checkoody room.
Sorry to interrupt.
So,
I guess the question is, and I think Councilmember Pappen was asking, will you also include the additional fee waiver for the, so
Absolutely.
that's part of it?
Inclusive, because that's as it stands currently.
Yeah.
So it
So
includes.
it's an extension of the current waiver.
Direct to the staff report, fiscal impact will include $66,000 to $71,000 in costs for 2024, 25 in the fiscal report, just so you're clear.
yes.
Okay. Call for the question.
Okay, we have a second. I make a motion, we have a second from Councilmember Schneider. City Clerk, please.
I do have one comment. First, I want to support it, and I thank you for everything that we do, and I believe we still have the largest senior population in the county. For the cities, do we know the cities that visitors are coming in from? And in part of the fundraising plan, have we asked for support from those cities? We, collectively.
We can find out that information. However, just based on anecdotal information, actually there are many intergenerational families that live in and around Millbrae. They can be actual parents of their children who live in Millbrae, who come visit and eventually move to Millbrae and then live with the kids in Millbrae, because Millbrae also has one of the best, or if not the best, school districts in San Mateo.
So it's complicated on there. And again, I think part of our message to the county, and we should, I know we've applied for our own Measure K, but we should probably keep an eye on, given that Measure K funds now include disaster prep and care for seniors, that we put that in our requests, or that we get our share of Measure K funds directly and we can use them to spend on our people. So I'm happy to support this. But let's keep that in mind, that Measure K should be there for just some of these purposes. And are we getting our fair share? Not, yeah.
Call for the question.
Collective fair share.
Call for
There we
the
go.
question, please.
Okay, City Clerk, please, roll call.
Councilmember Snyder?
Aye.
Councilmember Pappen?
Yes.
Councilmember Cahalan?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Goodman?
Aye.
Mayor Funk?
Aye.
The council accepted the semi-annual update report and approved the funding and assistance request for the Millbrae Senior Lunch Program by the vote of 5-0.
Thank you so very much.
On behalf of the seniors who are here today, thank you very much. And those who are not here, you really provide the need that they all have to not just address the nutrition, but the loneliness, which is now recognized by the World Health Organization as a critical issue. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Mayor Bung, Vice Mayor Goodman, and council members, City Manager Williams. Really appreciate all your support on behalf of our seniors. Thank you.
And just full disclosure, in a few years, I'll be qualified to join your senior lunch programs.
Would love to have you and all who are interested. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for the great partnership as well.
All right, sounds good. All right, so item number 9, accept the Housing Element Annual Progress Report for 2023 and authorize transmittal to the California Department of Housing and Community Development and Governor's Office of Planning and Research. City Manager, please.
Thank you. I'd just like to introduce Mr. Andrew Mogensen, our Community Development Director, for the presentation.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Mayors of the City Council. So this is our annual Housing Element Progress Report for the year 2023. This is a state-mandated annual review of the city's status and progress of implementing the housing element of the city's general plan. It's a snapshot of the current status of new affordable housing production in Millbrae and progress towards meeting our regional housing needs allocation. This is required by law. City Council has to hold a public meeting and accept public comments, and the report is required to be submitted to the state of California every year by April 1st. So it was a big year in 2023 for our housing element. On February 27th, you adopted the 6th cycle housing element and authorized staff to resubmit that for certification. HCD promptly certified it on March 1st, 2024. On March 1st, we were one of 6 cities in San Mateo County to have a certified housing element. I just checked the scoreboard today, and Colma just had their housing element certified yesterday, so now we're one of 7 out of the 21 jurisdictions in San Mateo County with a certified housing element. So congratulations to you on that. This year, 2023, is the first year of our 6th cycle housing element period, covering the period from 2023 to 2031. This is our first annual report of that period, following our recently adopted housing element. So just some major milestones. We did make significant progress towards housing entitlement and construction in 2023. Last year, we entitled 100 new housing units. The biggest of those was 1301 Broadway. That's a SB 35 project, 99 units, 49 of which are affordable. We issued building permits on 13 new accessory dwelling units. I should point out that the building permits, they go up and down every year, the number of building permits that we issue. The state, our reporting in the annual progress report is based on building permits. It's not based on certificates of occupancy or entitlements. It's just building permits. So did you issue a building permit this year? And that's what we report on. But we did have a big year. We issued C of Os for 263 completed housing units in 2023. That's pretty big. Of those, 254 were at Gateway Station 16 apartments. That includes 16 moderate units. As I said, those, when we report building permits out to the state, those are reported in the 2022 report because, of course, it takes a while from building permit to certificate of occupancy to build that and have it occupied. We are doing really well. We've got 1,250 entitled housing units currently in the pipeline. We are so close to issuing building permits on projects like 959 El Camino Real. Of other big projects, we've got the 384 units at El Rancho Inn, 488 units in Sarah Station, in addition to the 1301 Broadway. But as far as building permits issued, we issued 13 in 2023, and those are just residential unit building permits. This is the breakdown in the progress report. Most of these were accessory dwelling units that were issued in 2023. A lot of programs that are always in progress here in Millbrae. Next year's APR is going to have a lot more involved. There's going to be a busy year in 2024. We've already accomplished a lot for the first 3 months of this year, but of course I'm reporting on 2023. A lot of our core programs ongoing: rental housing assistance, home sharing program through HIP Housing. We are responsible for monitoring affordable housing units, resales, and rental controls to make sure that the families who need those affordable units are living in them and that people have access to those affordable units when they become available. And, we have our affordable housing commercial linkage fees, and of course, our assistance to the unhoused through Life Moves, which is always an ongoing effort here in Millbrae. Another really big thing that I want to point out that happened in 2023 that might have fallen off the radar is that for the second half of the fifth cycle, last cycle, we met our market rate housing production, our RENA numbers. And because of that, for the next 4 years, we are going to be in the SB 35 category requiring 50% affordable units, not 10%. Because if you remember in the past, SB 35, we were in that 10% category, but because we met our market rate housing goals in the last cycle, we are now in the 50%. So any SB 35 project that comes in has to provide 50% affordable housing units under the new status that we got in 2023. So that was good news. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. As a requirement of state law, we have to take public comments on this item, if any. I appreciate your time this evening.
Excellent. So we'll take council comment first, and then we'll go public comment after. Anyone? Councilwoman Schneider.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Great report. Happy to see everything. I'm going to steal what Councilwoman Pappen usually asks, is just how much time the annual reporting takes. Not that you have to tell me, but to make sure that we're letting our assembly people know that time is money and time is taken away from other activities. But I'm really happy to see the tree meeting on March 21st, so I won't go there. My other question is, in this report, in the full report, is there a section, or can we create a section that says this is what's preventing us from entitling, from whatever category, why we can't entitle something, what's holding up the Office Depot 979, I never remember the address, but what's holding these up so that HCD and the state of California take some responsibility? Like, the cost of money is out of our hands. And what I'm reading in the newspaper more recently is the housing advocates are now really trying to come after our developer fees. And I'm a little concerned about that. We talked earlier about the purple pipe at the special, at the study session, and we couldn't get purple pipes out of an SB 330 project, the Anton Apartments El Rancho, on that. And I think HCD needs to know that we're not frivolous with our developer fees, and that one of the things we try to do is the purple pipe system. It's got to get paid for some way. So I hope in our letter that we say, these are the things that are stopping us from making a sustainable city. And if you can do that, I trust you, but that's what I'd like to see.
I appreciate that comment. To answer your first question, it took a few hours this year to put the item together. This was actually a little faster year than in the years past. It comes in the form of a spreadsheet. It's a very technical Excel spreadsheet with lots and lots of tabs. We do have the ability to put notes in those tabs, and we often do when we report back to the state of California with comments, just as you've noted, when those situations arise on a case-by-case basis. So just to answer your two questions.
That's just, I want to see the state of California understand that they have to stop picking on us and take responsibility for things that are out of our control. Or give us the control back. Change 330 that we can get purple pipes and trees planted. Thank you. And good work.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No one else?
Amen.
Okay. All right, we'll take some public comment. Do we have any public comment on this? Anyone online?
No one online, ma'am.
Okay, seeing none, bring it back to the council. If no one has any further comment, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the report to HCD.
Thank you.
Or do you want us to read the actual verbiage?
I think we're good.
I think, how about I rephrase?
All right, go ahead.
Accept the housing element annual progress report for 2023 and authorize transmittal to the California Department of Housing and Community Development and the Governor's Office of Planning and Research.
Second.
Thank you. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Snyder?
Aye.
Councilmember Pappen?
Yes.
Councilmember Cahalan?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Goodman?
Aye.
Mayor Fung?
Aye.
Item number 9 passed by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you, staff. Good work. Next up, we have item number 10, fire suppression assessment result. City Manager, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to introduce our Finance Director, Mr. Mike Sung, for this presentation on item 10. Also, Mr. Mayor, just for efficiency, Mr. Sung also has items 11 and 12.
Should we get you a chair? All right, go ahead, Mr. Mike Sung.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. Today we'll be talking about the vote results for the Millbrae Fire Assessment that occurred at the public hearing of February 27th, 2024. So we'll go straight into the actual vote results. A little bit of background. We actually counted the votes on Wednesday, the 28th of February, and that was led by Rick Clark and Sunny Dela Cruz of Harrison Associates and assisted by our city clerk and her staff as well. So the total number of ballots that were counted was 2,448 out of 6,885 that was sent. There was about a 36% response rate. As a result, the assessment did not pass by a 45.2 to 54.8% weighted assessment. So there were actually more yes votes than no votes, 1,301 yes votes to 1,147 no votes, 53.1% to 46.9%. But because this is a weighted assessment, it actually ended up being 45.2 to 54.8. And this was due to one really big commercial and residential property that was equivalent to 289 single-family housing units that the vote did not actually pass. We actually received 105 ballots that didn't have any markings on it, so we couldn't count it either way for any of those as well. So without an actual assessment, city would be forced to make some pretty difficult decisions to achieve the overall reduction in spending. We're talking about $1.6 million that we actually receive annually from the fire assessment that's set to expire at the end of this fiscal year. That could include a reduction in public safety, park maintenance, storm drain, road repair, and operations and maintenance of the city itself. We'd actually retain the services of the Edwards Group for communications, and just another aside, staff fielded over 100 phone calls from community members, and we conducted 2 community meetings to inform the community of what the fire assessment was all about. So next steps. For next steps, we're recommending conducting further community outreach and perhaps going out for another assessment and vote to start on or around April 26th of 2024. This will provide sufficient time for the legally required 45-day window. We need to have 45 days open and available for voting. And this is because we actually need to get the assessment to the county by the August 1st deadline so that it can show up for the 24-25 roll if council chose to go that direction. You know, we received a lot of feedback already from the county, from the community. And these are things that we've heard, including instead of having something in perpetuity, to actually have like a window, a 10-year window was one of the more common items. Also, what seemed to resonate very, very well with the community is to maintain a citizens oversight community to bring back suggestions to the county. We recommend having that as well. Looking at assessing condominiums, the same as the multifamily apartments. This is another feedback that we received from the community as well. Also, we wasn't really that much of an issue of the amount of the assessment. We did hear some price sensitivity from a few people. So we're really recommending to kind of lower the assessment to approximately $199 for single family homes and $142.50 for multifamily units if we were to go out again. We had the timing for the first assessment just in case, because, you know, with that strategy, if council so chooses, we can actually go back out in time to still make it if we did a second vote before the August 1st deadline. So with that, the recommendation is to, staff recommends that the City Council accept the informational report and direct staff to commence with the new fire assessment and public outreach campaign for a vote to commence on around April 26th. With that, I'm available for any questions. We have our consultant, Rick Clark, available as well for anything technical.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Mike Sung. Any council comment questions for the staff? Ms. Schneider.
First of all, thank you, staff, for this. interesting results, understanding how people are feeling right now. On page 2 of the staff report had a bunch of, price consciousness, limit duration, annual CIP not to exceed 3%, all of the things that are in the staff report, the 5 bullet points. But here you're asking us to approve a $10 a year increase from, it was 147 or 179?
175 to
175.
199. It's $24. It would be a 14% increase.
Okay, which to me isn't enough to properly take care of the people of Millbrae. But will that also include a 10-year ending fee and a 3% cost of living, should the cost of living go up 3% each year? Is that part of what we're recommending?
Yeah, those are all things that we're looking at. We're going to do a public outreach campaign. We'll actually come back with another fire engineer's assessment report with that. These are just things that we've heard back.
Okay,
We'll have-
okay. So we're not being asked to vote on $189 or $142.50. Okay, because I like the comments that were in the staff report, and I think that they're all reasonable. I am probably more inclined to connect the money, because ultimately, for every one of you who have made one call to a fire department for whatever reason, you have gotten your money back right then and there. One call, you've more than gotten your money back on that. But if this is a public process, then I'm happy. The vote would start, the green envelopes would start being collected on the 26th, or they'll go out on the 26th?
They would,
Go ahead, Mike.
the green envelopes would go out on the 26th. We would have our campaign start if council so chooses to follow the staff's recommendation, starting now with a public outreach campaign. And then we'd come back to council on or around April 23rd with the fire assessment, the new fire assessment report. And if council chooses to approve that, then it would be
Okay.
out around the 26th.
Part of the feedback I got from the public was how difficult the transition of sewer fees from their regular bill, which everyone complains about, to property tax. And it even happened in my household, because suddenly there was this big increase that you had to pay all at once instead of moving it out over 6 months over the year. Now we're doing this right around tax time. So it's it's tough, because we're being held accountable for things that are outside of our power on that. So just be aware of that. The difficulty of the month of April with money going to the federal and the state government on that. That's my only concern. I'd love to get this done so we can all have safe fire services, but timing has not been with us. Thank you.
Councilwoman Cahalan.
As you mentioned, it's more of our commercial property owners that had a greater impact on the vote and the results. And it sounds like a lot of the modifications that we're looking at making are more geared towards our household residents. What kind of feedback did we hear from our commercial residents? And are there things we can do in that area and maybe not change so much the households, or just try to find that balance so that we can bring in sufficient funds to properly fund our fire services?
So in terms of the commercial entities, if we were to reduce the single-family homes and the multifamily homes, we would look at something commensurate as well. This is kind of spread evenly across, so people pay their fair share. The fire assessments itself, there's two different factors that you're really looking at, the fire and the risk factors, and the, I guess, the frequency of how things would be. So it would be based off of the fire engineer's report. They would look at both of those items. So usually it would be pretty much correlated in that aspect.
You good? All right, we got Councilmember Pappen, and then we have the Vice Mayor after.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I would like to be very clear that I do believe the information sheet should have gone out before the ballot, well before the ballot. I think that was quite an error on our part. Secondly, I think another error, because this is extremely important, as Councilmember Schneider pointed out, to our fire services and keeping them going at the level of service that the public really needs and must have. I think There should be direct outreach to the commercial property owners. The school district didn't even vote on this. We support them on their bonds and their efforts here. We need a direct line of communication with the commercial owners. The owner at the BART station voted no, and that weighed heavily on the outcome here. After all the work that this city put in to those projects, I understand the new developments did vote yes. So we have this, there must be a direct strategy as to who is reached out to. I would like to know too, 105 ballots returned with nothing on it. Did we notify those people that their ballots were incomplete? Maybe they didn't know what they were doing. I mean, I understand, I hear the county does that now. If your signature doesn't match, you will be notified that it doesn't match and it's in question. Why would anybody send back 105 without anything on it? We need to look at that. And for the public's information, this is the kind of election where we know exactly who voted yes and who voted no. So we need to figure that out. Thank you to everyone who was supportive. We need to find out, though, about that 105. We need to reach out to somehow Green Hills Country Club voted no without even talking to their board. There are really, we shouldn't be doing this twice. You put this in here just in case. We should have done this the first time out. Yeah, you're going out in April, it's tax time. It's really going to be much more difficult. We also, there are so many other taxes that are being proposed all throughout the region and the state here. I'm extremely disappointed. I would like to see, as we progress and approach this again, I want to see a written plan that staff is going to follow and commit to, and that we as council members can help implement, because this is important. We are dedicated to public safety here, and we need these funds to go forward and complete that service to the public. So, again, I see this, but I want stricter guidelines so that we are not making the same mistakes that should not have happened this time. Thank you.
Okay, we have the Vice Mayor, and then we'll come back to Councilmember Schneider after. Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yes, I have a few questions. For the commercial entities, can you give me a number of commercial entities that we're talking about? Yep, or just the potential voters? Give me a ballpark.
So when we're looking at, we had about 6,000 residential, which would include single family and condominiums, and about 300 more multiple families. There's about 500 others, which would include the commercial entities.
Yeah, the ones that with the big block I'm talking about. So the ones that could have shifted the vote either way. How many are we talking about?
If you're referring to the one large commercial and residential, that was two.
Oh, the commercial, residential, the school district, Green Hills, those in that range. Do we not know that number? And it could be a range. That's all I'm asking, just a range. I mean, but you would think, here we are, Monday morning quarterbacking, we should have at least known that range of individuals that need to probably be handheld and made sure that they actually participated in this process. So that's the reason I'm asking the question. If we don't have the number, that's the answer, I guess, that we should know that number, or at least a range, and have a strategy, whether it's a consultant or if it's city staff. Someone should be responsible and accountable for reaching that out. We shouldn't wait until the voting is being counted to know that we didn't know how certain people were voting. There's certain people that we should have known exactly how they were voting. And I think that's what we have to make sure does not happen this time. So if we're talking about 20 to 100, there should be some meetings set up, one-on-ones directly with these individuals, making sure that boards are being communicated to and they're making the decisions, not whoever received it and just put a no on it and sent it back. And I guess that question is, should we have known? Do you or city staff believe that we should have known how certain people were going to vote beforehand?
Well, to answer your question, I'll refer to the city attorney. No, we cannot campaign or advocate or tell somebody how to vote or know how they're going to vote until after.
So we can't communicate to them the importance, just like we are having community meetings with residents. We can have direct community meetings with these individuals saying, hey, this is why it's important. Can we not?
Yes.
That's a different question, but yes, we
Well,
can, and yes, we did, yeah.
So we did have those, and so no concerns were brought up with those individuals that voted no, since we already communicated to them?
Well, we just informed them. We didn't get into concerns or anything. We just informed them on our FAQ what the benefits and what the need was.
But that's not how we're doing with the community. We're saying, hey, this is our FAQ, but if you have concerns, let us know, and we're able to address those with those community members in those meetings, correct?
Correct, that's right.
And so maybe
it
would prove useful to have that same strategy with the commercial owners as well.
Correct. There was just so you know, there was only one commercial owner, very large, and we say commercial, but it's actually a TOD project that has significant amount of residential as well. And I think, as Mike mentioned, it's equivalent to 290 single family. Right.
And so that would make it even easier. It should have been just one meeting. And so that's all I'm getting at. That would make it easy for someone to say, hey, do you have any concerns? Let us know. Let us alleviate those concerns. And then we leave it at that. Moving forward, do we have a strategy around addressing these issues with the commercial developers or commercial entities? I'm sorry.
We do. I personally reached out to them. We had a company under contract to do this work for us. And so we've addressed the shortcomings with that particular firm, and, we'll reevaluate their contract, their performance, and go from there.
Will that come back before the council, or will there be an opportunity to go after some type of liquidated damages for them not doing what we expected?
Yeah, we're actually discussing that with our city attorney. It's in process.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Ms. Schneider, hold on one second. Ms. Schneider, you have anything follow up?
My question, because I didn't really pay attention to commercial as much as I did residential, because that's who calls us, is, and along the lines of what Councilwoman Pappen said, help us understand where the commercial businesses were and what arguments we can use when we're out and about town.
Well, yeah, I think it's just the terminology. It wasn't just commercial, it's really mixed use. And so, Mike, if you go back to the slide of the one large developer, which is the largest single development with the highest assessed value in the city, who voted no, and they're equivalent to 290 single-family homeowners. So if they would have voted yes, this would have passed. So to the vice mayor's point, I think it might be easier, as he said, to make sure that we do reach out, which we have done. Like I said, I personally met with him and communicated the importance of this. So it's unfortunate. It happened. We've got to, move on, go to Plan B as we're recommending, and continue with the outreach.
And I understand that. To me, it's like all the people that called me, and I called you, and we had more meetings basically targeted at residential. That worked really well. But I talked to businesses too, and if I could see their story, what they were hesitating. Because to me, if I own a brand new building and my city that my brand new building is in doesn't have enough money to take care of fire services, I'm being penny foolish by not paying for this, because if it burns down, and look at how many properties in construction or under construction in the city have been set on fire, that was sort of being penny foolish, if that's the right phrase. So give us the tools that we can help.
Okay, good. Ms. Pappen.
Yeah, and then when this comes back, again, I want to be very clear as to what the city's communication obligations are, because that failed here. I also want to be very clear that we are here to help, so we would like to probably see a list of those commercial voters or multi-use voters so that we can reach out to them prior to stress the importance of this. I would also like to include in whatever motion comes forward that we have a resolution asking the school district to participate and support this. They do that to us. I think that is appropriate. We have to go through legal counsel on that, but they constantly come to us asking for that. So what can we do?
I think that is where the council can really reach out to your cohorts on the school board, et cetera. In any election, the city's role, if it has a measure, is to educate and to inform, not to advocate. So you have to kind of walk the line and make sure that what you are doing is educating and not advocating. But there's a lot that can be done with educating and informing and letting people know exactly, as you said, Councilmember Pappen, that this is a very important measure and these are the needs that are addressed. So there's a lot that can be done. And, in terms of timing and when things get out, a lot of that's the consultant and
No, and that is also our city staff.
And,
Yeah, I want to be very clear here. Information, public information,
Yes.
as you said, must go out before the ballots go out, not after. The school district has made that error, now we're making that error. Has to be, we as a council, we as staff here need to commit, get the information out prior to the ballots.
So you will recall that before the ballots went out, and the ballots went out with the information. I'm a resident of San Mateo. We just had an assessment.
But it
And
didn't happen here, Joan. I'm telling you that right now. Did not.
that may be, but what I'm
That is.
what I'm suggesting is that this council passed a resolution endorsing its own measure, and that was your time to advocate. And we tried to draft that resolution in a manner that was effective. And I think what can happen is the council can take that resolution and go out and meet with people and talk to people about it. But there is a rule that public funding cannot be spent to advocate.
I'm clear on that, and I'm not arguing
Okay,
that.
so-
I am arguing this council, this city spent money on an information document which did not go out until after the ballots. That is a useless paper. It must go out prior to ballots. And the
There are
city failed
FAQs
that.
that were on the website, and maybe FAQs could go out. I mean, we'll have to look at how we get information
And for the
out.
record, I'd say I did direct our consultant to do that, and they failed, so that's
But I'm
what we're
sorry,
addressing.
the consultant, the city sends out that information sheet. Is that
No,
correct?
No, we have a consultant that we hire to take on that responsibility.
It came from the city.
Yes,
The
but we
fact
hire a
sheet.
consultant. We hire a consultant with the responsibility to do that.
And as I was told, the city was instructed to send out their information sheet prior to. That did not happen. Can we please be clear? Whatever the city sends out, as far as facts, must go out before the ballots.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Ms.
I have
Cahalan?
a clarifying question. I understand that for city staff, it's a very clear line of educating and not advocating. As council members, are we able to be more of an advocate, or do
Yes.
we have to stay on that education
Yes,
side?
yes.
So we can
I
advocate.
would suggest to you that
So,
is your
yeah.
job.
So use us as much, I think the
Yes,
more
I mean, the
information that
reason-
we have,
Yeah.
I think, for me, I knew we were doing this and the assessment, very much understood the residential side of this, but not the commercial mixed use and how much we could have been doing that. So I wish we had had that information so we could have been more advocates. on
Right,
that.
so, I mean, the
thank you.
rule is based on expenditure of public funds, and you do pay your staff. So staff is not supposed to go out and advocate, but you certainly, as the elected leaders of the community, I would suggest that that would be an appropriate role for you.
And just for a further little explanation on that, that is the job of the council, but you cannot use public resources for that. So you have to do it on your own time or your own political,
Yes.
campaign funds, that type of thing.
Well, you get paid per meeting, so you're being paid now, but outside of your council meeting, you can pretty much do what you want.
I got a questions for staff. You said the school district did not vote?
No, they did not.
Okay, would it have made a difference?
Mike, it would not have made a
It would not
difference.
have made a difference.
But it still would have been nice to see them being engaged, right? So, I think we're working with the school district on many things. We do have a subcommittee to liaison with the school district. Might not be a bad idea to have a communication just to make sure all the facts are communicated and make sure all the facts are communicated. The importance of these measures, just as their measures, we had supported, as Councilmember Pappen had discussed a moment ago. We supported their measure when they had a bond going out, right? So it would be nice that there is some collaboration here. So I think those conversations can be had, and we do have those mechanisms within subcommittee to discuss facts and collaboration. So I think that could certainly be an avenue at which some of these communications can take place. Ms. Schneider, you have a comment?
Did the Unified High School District vote for Mills High School, knowing that even though we pay for all the utilities in San Bruno, Cappuccino is San Bruno? So did Unified High School vote?
No, they did not.
So neither school district. So I think it would be really helpful, like what Councilwoman Cahalan said. I didn't know I should be doing that. I had been talking to some businesses. This time around, give us that list. But my dumb question, if we wanted to take a hard copy of an FAQ to a meeting, we need to photocopy that on our own.
Or email it?
FAQs
Okay.
are not.
I
politicking,
like things
right.
by paper rather than saying, hey, by
Yes.
the way, go to our website, because, it's that one-click rule. If I'm one-on-one, I want to give them something.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I just need to know I can pick up a stack of FAQs and go walk out and talk to the school districts.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We spend a good deal of time making sure that the tone of the FAQs are neutral and educational and informative and don't have charged words. You need a neutral tone. So you may copy those on city copy machines and take them to public meetings, of course.
They're on the city website, are they not?
And they're on the website.
It was
They are.
and it was on the city website, Mike, a week, 2 weeks before the ballots actually went out. Yeah, so
was
so
out
the
early.
information was all electronic, just not the printed copy in mailboxes.
So feel free to text it to your counterpart, text it to commercial property owner, residential property owners, school district trustee, what have you. Mr. Vice Mayor, you have a comment?
Yes, to that point, what was stated earlier is that if we pass a resolution, we could be as charged as we want in that resolution, and we can utilize that resolution in addition to an FAQ, correct?
Correct.
So maybe we can strategize around that and make sure that the resolution says what we want it to say and be very intentional, knowing that it will be a document that we will utilize as advocacy.
Absolutely right.
Perfect. Mr. Sung, did you have sufficient directions to move forward to the next step?
Um,
I think the action here is to receive your report and, let me just kind of go back and read that.
I don't,
We're here to conduct further, so staff recommended City Council accept the informational report and consider conducting further community outreach regarding the fire suppression assessment. You will conduct a public outreach after this and come back with the exact proposal to go out for a second assessment, correct?
yes.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, perfect. Do we have any public comment on this? I almost forgot about that. I don't have anybody online. I don't have any speaker slip.
That's correct, Mayor.
Okay, closing public comment. So, Mr. Sung, do you have everything you need?
Believe so.
Okay, any other further council comment?
This is an action item, Mayor, so the recommendation's up on the screen.
Just to accept the,
Me to make a motion.
go ahead, make a motion.
Motion to accept the informational report and direct staff to commence with a new fire assessment and public outreach campaign for a vote to commence on April 26, 2024.
I have a motion from Councilmember Schneider. I got a second from Councilmember Cahalan. Roll call, please. City Clerk.
Councilmember Snyder.
Aye.
Councilmember Pappen.
Yes.
Councilmember Cahalan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Goodman.
Aye.
Mayor Fong.
Aye.
Item number 10 passed by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you so much. And item 11, adoption of a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign and execute a professional services agreement with the Peninsula Traffic Congestion Relief Alliance, commute.org, for financial services to be provided by the city. City manager?
I would simply like to introduce our finance director for this item, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mike Sun.
You sure you don't need a chair?
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Sung.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a little background on what this actually is. So commute.org is a JPA, a joint powers agency in San Mateo County, and their goal is to reduce congestion, mainly for people that are driving alone. So they're promoting alternative and sustainable alternatives to that. So the current provider for commute.org is actually the city of San Carlos. They are no longer going to be able to provide these services to commute.org. Before that, it was Daly City, and now it's San Carlos. So under commute.org's agreement, fiscal services has to be provided by one of the members, of which we are actually a member of commute.org. So we've actually engaged with commute.org's board, and they've actually approved already retaining the city of Millbrae for fiscal services pending council approval. So there's multiple benefits for both the city and for commute.org. So commute.org would receive fiscal services for us at fair market value, which is at the fully burdened rate, and the contract would be approximately $103,600. The transaction volume is low enough that it can be accommodated and performed with existing finance staff. This provides a great opportunity for our existing staff to develop additional skills acting as a fiscal agent for another entity. Our services include accounting, bookkeeping, cashiering, cash management, bill inquiries, accounts payable, helping to prepare for the audits. They, commute.org will be conducting their own human resources services as well as their own payroll services, so that's not included in this portion. So next steps, if approved, we'll actually work with commute.org and the city of San Carlos on a transition to provide fiscal services to commute.org, which we would anticipate would start at the beginning of the next fiscal year, July 1st, 2024. Any startup costs would be billed to commute.org at face value. So we see this as a benefit. It's one of the win-win situations that you'll see out there. And with that, recommend adopting a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with commute.org for financial services to be provided by the city. If there are any questions, I'm available for any questions. We have the executive director of commute.org, Mr. John Ford, here in the audience as well, should you have any questions for him.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Sung. Questions and comment from the council?
Move approval.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
Second.
We're going to second. Let's just make sure we got comment. We have not taken public comment yet, but no questions, no comments? Cahalan.
Just one comment. Last year, I had the pleasure of serving on the commute.org board, and it was so wonderful to learn all the work that the organization is doing, not just so much around congestion management, but also even more work encouraging, people commuting, taking public transportation, lots of equity work around access to public transportation, affordability for lower income folks. And so it's great work. And last year when they talked about needing a new fiscal agent, and I came from the meeting and talked with our city manager. And as I've learned in this year on city council, there's a lot of things in government that take a long time, but it's exciting to see something happen quick. So I think this is a really wonderful partnership, and I'm very happy that Millbrae has worked towards this.
Thank you. I do have a question. What other service can we provide to you?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Really appreciate it. And thank you, Mike, for the presentation. You got it exactly right. This is one of those rare agenda items where you guys are actually getting money back, instead of going the other direction. So I think it is a win-win. But on behalf of our board, the 19 other members of the JPA, which includes all the cities and towns of San Mateo County and the county itself, minus one town, which we won't mention. We really do appreciate Millbrae stepping up and helping us out in that regard.
Well, we're glad to be of your assistance.
Thank you.
And we're thankful for your partnership as well. So we have a motion and we have a second. Thank you so very much. Can we, I don't think we have any public comment. I don't have any slips. I don't have any
There are
hands
no
online.
speaker slips, and also there's no hands raised online, Mayor.
Sounds good. Thank you. Mr. Vice Mayor, do you have a comment?
No, just clear my throat, sorry.
Okay,
Call for the question.
please. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Snyder.
Very happy, yes.
Councilmember Pappen.
Yes.
Councilmember Cahalan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Goodman.
Aye.
Mayor Fung.
Aye.
Item number 11 passed by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you so very much. Item number 12, accept the fiscal year 2023 to 2024 mid-year budget report and adopt a resolution amending the 2023 and 2024 adopted budget and revised salary schedule for management employees effective March 24th, 2024. Mr. Sung.
All right, thank you once again, Mayor. Can I complete the trifecta today? So just getting straight into it, for our general fund revenues and expenditures for fiscal year 23-24, we're recommending a few adjustments as I'll go through them in the next slide. And generally, revenues have performed as anticipated for the most part. The expenditure adjustments we're really looking at are for additional public works, capital projects, including updating the paint for the light poles, traffic signals, and railings on Millbrae Avenue, and some for grant writing, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. So general fund revenue adjustments. As you can see, the net value of the adjustments is about $20,000. It's not really that much of a change, but kind of wanted to at least detail what was actually going on some of the higher level portions itself. If you look at the property tax, it's projected to come in a little bit more, about 60,000 more. Transient occupancy tax, 30,000 more, and sales tax about 160,000 more. So the big three taxes that we're really looking at is about $250,000 more. One thing I did want to mention is underneath licenses and permits, we're recommending a reduction of $1 million from 2.79 to 1.79. And the reason for this is, as I described in January, during the year end, we actually received a lot of the licenses and permit money early last year. So if you go back and you can take a look, we received that extra $1 million in advance. So it actually was received in 22-23. So that's why the projection is being suggested to be modified lower. We're also getting a little bit more in charges for services as well. We're recommending an adjustment of about $770,000. That's also based on timing. So we're trying to give as accurate of a view as what it would look like for 23-24. So there are some things that we're also looking at on the expenditure side. As I mentioned, it's about $190,000 for the public works capital projects and the grant writing itself. There's things that are being monitored right now that we're actually looking at. So there's three things that could possibly affect us moving forward, and we wanted you to be cognizant of this. So one is there is a loss of revenue from the possible closure of La Quinta due to the county's intent to purchase. We don't have a defined date yet for that. So that's one piece that would affect Millbrae. It's about $550,000 to $600,000. That's really the just the TOT itself, not including the other pieces. The other thing that you may have heard of is the state's trying to take away the property tax in lieu of vehicle license fee. So back in 2004, a little history for this, the state took away the vehicle license fee revenues from the cities, but they promised to give back property tax in lieu of the vehicle license fee. 20 years ago, they did this. Now, there's been this kind of dance that's happened over the last 20 years where the state's basically given the money, but it's been delayed by approximately 14 months. They've always given the money. There's been chatter that they may or may not, but it's always been paid approximately 14 months later. There's a chance that it could be delayed even further. We're just monitoring this and just being cognizant of things that are happening at the state level for this. And the reasoning behind this is actually a complicated formula when you're looking at the VLF payment in itself, and it's based off of how many basic aid versus non-basic aid schools that you actually have. And the more basic aid schools that you have, then the lower the amount of VLF there. Now, there's 3 counties, including us, that are actually affected by this. There's San Mateo County, Alpine County, and Mono. And it's very, very likely in the next couple of years, our neighbor to the south, Santa Clara County, will actually be facing this as well. So this is something that's going to be a bigger problem throughout the state. It's going to take a little bit of time. The third item that we're also really monitoring closely is CalPERS. The UAL costs are going to go up. So what ends up happening with the unfunded actuarial liability is they usually don't get put into place until about 2 years afterwards. So I know a lot of people are probably thinking, hey, the returns this year look really, really good so far. That will come into place probably about 2 years from now, 26, 27, we'll actually be able to see that. But 2 years ago, CalPERS actually had a down year. They had about a negative 6% return. So that's going to affect the UAL payments that we actually make. And we're monitoring that. The year right after, the returns were pretty close to the nominal amount, so that shouldn't have too much of an effect. But for this upcoming year, it's something to kind of monitor and take a look at as well. But it should get ameliorated 2 years from now when this year's returns come in, assuming that it continues to be at its current pace. Other 2 things I wanted to note is that our police building remodel debt is retired. It was officially retired on March 1st of this year. That's about approximately $250,000 that we're not no longer transferring for. So that's helpful. That opens up a little bit of capacity for us. Also, there's been an increase in interest rates. That's, as with inflation and interest rates going up, we've actually received more interest, and we're projecting about $370,000 more than last year. Just as an aside, we received about $470,000 to the general fund in interest last year. And as interest rates go up, then we're going to get more and more interest revenue. So things to kind of look at to balance. That's why we're monitoring these items pretty closely. So for other funds, the one adjustment that we're recommending is for the recreation fund. And we're recommending increasing the revenues by $180,000 and also increasing expenditures by $180,000. What this really is that there's 2 things. There's going to be additional expenditures from staff required to man more rentals and additional classes, such as tennis, soccer, summer camps. So this is going to be offset because of the popularity of the programs in the increase of rentals that we've been receiving, as well as the revenue from the classes. We try to be as revenue neutral as possible. So that's one recommendation we're recommending moving forward. Other actions that we're looking at. So we're also looking at the reclassification of an environmental services manager to senior environmental services manager, plus a conversion of a half-time environmental coordinator to a full-time environmental coordinator. These are all part of the Integrated Waste Management Fund, and funding for that is sufficient for that. What this entails is there's been an increase in both the complexity and the amount of work and scope for these classifications. So you would need a little bit more staff to actually help with these programs, as well as the complexity that's managed for that. We're also recommending an update to the salary range for the senior engineer classification. Also a reclassification of the public works management analyst to senior management analyst. We're recommending allocating about $60,000 for the grant writer, and we're going to fund this with the funds that it's applied for. So once the funds come in, then those funds can help fund that actual position as well. And then we're also looking to update the salary range for the city clerk, and this is also for labor market comparability and internal equity placement. So with that, we recommend receiving the fiscal year 23-24 budget update and adopt a resolution amending the fiscal year 23-24 budget as shown on Attachment 1, Exhibit A, and the revised salary schedule for management/exempt employees as shown on Attachment 1, Exhibit B, effective March 17, 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Sung. Questions and comment from this council. Ms. Ann Schneider.
Thank you. First, I want to say thank you, and thank you to staff, because I have been reading every other city's budget assessments in the Daily Journal, and each time I text or call Tom and say, Tom, Half Moon Bay is way down in hotel tax, or Tom, Belmont's out. So I am very pleased and grateful to all the work all staff have done to keep us in line with our revenue on that. And of course, because I think we should be doing a lot more for climate change, I'm in full support of all of the staffing and the grant writing, because that's something that is a specific skill, and it's something always added on top of staff's already full work plan. So again, thank you, staff, for this. I appreciate the slide that said it looks like a loss, and then thank you, police debt, yay, on that, and interest rates, yay, but then it goes along with the CalPERS below because of the market 2 years ago. I'm a little concerned because the one thing that isn't mentioned in here is, whereas La Quinta is still floating out there, but it's already hurting our other hotels because they've already lost the shuttle from the airport. So the Millwood Hotel and the Fairfield Hotel, and I'm waiting for the TOT to come in, or waiting to hear from the hoteliers to say they're seeing a reduction in rooms based on that. I don't know one way or the other, but the damage that the county has done to the city has already started on that and hurting our other hotels and our other restaurants on that. So I'm a little concerned about that budget loss. It's a big thing hanging over us. Plus, and I'm just for the public, I'm fully in support of us spending the legal fights and fighting, because Millbrae for too many years did not fight. So, but we've got these additional legal costs because of the county on that, and now the state of California. So anyway, I'm very grateful for this budget. I'm really concerned about that one loss. Out of our hands loss. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment, questions from our council? Councilmember Cahalan.
I just have one question that I wanted to confirm. The staffing changes, are those included in the line items at the top? So when we look at the overall 20,000 difference, that includes the position and salary changes?
Yeah, the staffing changes are included. Most of them are other funds, actually. We were just showing you the general fund. Most of the other funds are performing within expectations. The main changes that we were looking at were for the recreation fund, which really needs to go up to in a commensurate level for both revenues and expenditures to balance each other out.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, Mr. Vice Mayor, you have your hands up.
Yeah, one quick question regarding the salary schedule. Looking at the city manager position, the top position per month and annual is blank. I saw the asterisk down at the bottom stating that there's a contract but I'm assuming that contract is public information. And so why was that left blank?
So for the city manager classification, it is a contract. It's on our website. And
I understand that, but for the purpose of this, could it not have been there? For the purpose of transparency, because if we're just trying to give, if it's the purpose of this document to support and provide information to us, why create another step for us or the public to go find it?
Vice Mayor, I didn't know it was blank, so I apologize. It should be there, so I got to look to Mike Sung as to why it's not there. I mean, it's published. I make $275,000 a year, which is the lowest of any city manager in the county, and I'd be happy to, there's no secrets here, so I don't know. It's an oversight. No, but I'm just telling you, it's an oversight, so I get it. But you're going to have to talk to Mike Sung. I don't know why I missed it, so I would put it in there if I would have seen it. But I would like to go to Councilmember Snyder. Thank you for your comments. This city staff does more with less, and we do amazing work. And I know that the community appreciates it. We're going to continue doing more with less and be very successful. I mean, the mayor had the pleasure of meeting with some of our higher end developers that have had billion-dollar investments in this city, and he can confirm from them the great work that the city staff does. So thank you very much for your comments.
Okay. Any other comment or questions from anyone?
Apparently, well, I think it is on there, actually, according to the city clerk on Exhibit B.
Yeah.
It's just the
blank.
bottom range, and that is what he makes.
Oh, the bottom, well, that's what I was asking, the top
Okay.
range. Anyone else has the top
Well, I don't
range?
make the top range.
Well,
So
we
to
don't
answer your
have one.
question,
We don't-
it is obviously published here on Exhibit B. Maybe you, as I did, I missed it as well, so.
I'm
I apologize.
actually, no, if you let me finish, I'm saying the top range is blank. So it just says bottom. It doesn't say this is the range. So what I'm asking is the top range is usually where it caps out at. And if there is no top range, then that should have been noted in there that there is no top range, that it's all contractual. And per the contract, 275 is the current fee or rate. That's all I'm asking. So it's not about, I didn't see it. It's clearly blank in Exhibit B. You have the bottom and then you have a top that is blank. And if you want to pull that up, you can see it.
I now understand your question. Yeah, there is no adopted range in the salary range schedule. It's all
Thank you.
negotiable. Yeah.
All right.
So sorry, Vice Mayor, I understand what you're saying now, but there is no range.
Right. Okay. And then in the effort of transparency, that could have been put in there versus the contract, the directioning to the contract and under the asterisk. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from anyone? Okay, so I have a few things here. Mr. Sung, on the slide that you have right now is an increase in interest rate with estimated interest received to be approximately $370,000. And that's because of the federal funds rate at a historical high in the last, 27 years or something like that? And we are at a historical high, and we're at a point where we're most likely to see the Fed beginning to cut rates in the second half of this year. Does it not impact any of this?
So if the rates do get cut, it'll probably show up in the second half of the year if it does get cut in the second half. This is for this current fiscal year for
Right.
23-24. So the rates have been steadily climbing up over the last 2 years, 2.5 years. So that's why the amount's there. The other reason is when we're looking at the investments themselves, we're also looking at the three principles that we always look for investments, which
Right.
is safety, liquidity, and yield. We've been able to position ourselves better for all three aspects and to actually increase the yield up. That's been very beneficial for us.
Okay, excellent. I think we're all seeing the news, Half Moon Bay, San Bruno, they're both having some budget issues recently. It's on the Daily Journal. It's not exactly a secret. I actually think that Half Moon Bay actually have a structural deficit as well, over $5 million. So and I'm just thankful and glad that we're able to balance our budget and keeping all of us above water. But I just want to emphasize, none of this is by happenstance. It's because a few years ago, we were very conscientious in prioritizing our economic development. That's why we're able to get TOD done. That's why we're able to bring life science into the city of Millbrae. We're creating brand new jobs. We have Lucid coming into our city, and then these economic development are beginning to pay dividends. And that's why you're seeing our finances very much better than some of the other neighboring cities within the county. So I just want to make sure the public understands that this is the work that we do as the City Hall has. Our staff really dedicated themselves just to take on the lion's share of economic development. And to that point, I want to see further, what other effort can we make to prioritize our economic development effort as we look forward to a rate-cutting environment in the next couple of years in terms of the rate cycle. Hopefully, we can capture the economic expansion that we're expecting that is forthcoming. And as we create 3,000 to 4,000 new high-paying jobs, by virtue of having the life science, how can we retain the earning that they made in our city to further benefit and strengthening our tax structure, enhance our revenue stream, and really putting Millbrae first in terms of our finances. Mr. City Manager, I think, are there something we can do to prioritize our economic development effort here?
Yes, Mayor, and I do think, some of the discussion and some of the things that we've realized as a city, how important economic development is. I mean, some of the benefit that we're receiving from the investment in the community cannot go unnoticed with where we are with our economic position. And I think that this is just the commitment of a very long strategic approach to business attraction, business retention, job growth. We talk about affordable housing, living wage jobs, how a microeconomy works. So as you know, and I'm on the same page, that economic development should be a top priority, for the city. That's how we sustain ourselves. I mean, Half Moon Bay was mentioned tonight. One of the things, if you read into it, I think that they had estimated about $8 million in TOT, and I think they're annualized at about $1.5 million, $2 million less. So it just shows you how dependent we are on the market itself. And so how do we do that? I think it's through a robust strategic economic development plan.
Right, and then just the fact that we can bring in these new high-paying jobs from the life science, we need to find ways to retain and not to leak this into other cities so that when they earn their income here, they also get to spend it here at the same time, right? So I think those are some of the focuses that we need to have in the months and years ahead as we work out a new budget for the next year, how to dedicate some of our resources and focusing on economic development. So that all the good work that we've been doing can truly see the benefit of it in the weeks and years and months down the road. Because where we're coming from and where we get to today, this is not a coincidence. It's because of years of work that we are trying to be less dependent on just the TOT income for our city. And as we continue to diversify our tax structure and our revenue stream. So I want to make sure that this is front and center in terms of our priority, that we focus on economic development in the months ahead as we look at our next year's budget. With that, we'll take some public comment. I don't have any speaker slip. Mr. City Clerk, excuse me.
There are no hands raised and there's no speaker slip on this item.
Okay, excellent.
Move approval.
Move to approval. I got a motion from Councilmember Pappen. We have a second from Councilmember Cahalan. Do we need anything else from us, Mr. Sung?
No, I do not.
You good? Okay, Ms. Schneider, you have a comment?
I absolutely agree with economic development, but as I have said publicly, Millbrae is the only city in San Mateo County to have lost 3 people to climate disasters, 2 in an atmospheric river and 1 in 2017 during the heat wave over Labor Day weekend. So we cannot keep putting everything aside. We can't keep putting climate resiliency work aside on that. So when we come back with the next year's budget, and I'm grateful that we're moving forward on the tree ordinance. That is only the beginning. We have a bunch of resiliency activities we need to do to keep the people of Millbrae safe, not the least the fire assessment on that. So let's keep that in mind in terms of priority. I agree with you, but we are not a single priority. We are not one issue alone on that. Thank you.
And I agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And the better we are financially, the more opportunity and more resources we have to take care of all the things that you
Call
just
for
talked
the
about.
I mean, again,
Please.
$10 a need,
Call for the
$1 revenue, and
question.
we got to get that revenue up so we can have those, we can have that money to, spend on those things that don't produce revenue, but are desperately needed for our level of service and quality of life and safety of the community.
The most important thing about hotel tax is it is not designated to one particular use. We can use it for whatever the needs are. So we are at risk of a hotel tax and the El Rancho, and then the Aloft and the Westin. These are realities that we need to start looking at what the Westin and the Aloft want to do. I know it's 2 to 3 years in the future, but it's going to impact us. 25% of our revenue is hotel tax. It's great to diversify, but we cannot have outside entities coming in and taking away our revenue, period.
All right. City Clerk.
Councilmember Snyder.
Aye.
Councilmember Pappen.
Yes.
Councilmember Cahalan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Goodman.
Aye.
Mayor Fung.
Aye.
Item number 12 passed by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you so much. You can now sit down, Mr. Sang.
Thank you.
Item 13, receipt of certificate of sufficiency of recall petition filed with the city clerk, elections official. This is informational item. City clerk, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Elaine, and I am the city clerk and also the election official for City of Millbrae. In accordance with the election code, staff is presenting this report to enable the city council's receipt of the certificate of sufficiency of the recall petition filed with the city clerk and election official, and advise the council on the next step on calling a special election. Recall can only be initiated by proponents who are registered voters based on the residents unqualified to vote for the office of the officer they are seeking to recall. The city clerk's office received 2 recall petitions. One is to recall Councilmember Cahalan representing District 2. The notice of intent to circulate a recall petition was received on November 20th. Councilmember Cahalan filed an answer to the notice on November 27th. The petition form was determined to meet statutory requirements on January 2nd on 2024. The proponents have 60 days between January 24th to March 2nd to collect the prerequisite number of 607 signatures from the registered voter of District 2, as noted in the election code here. On February 26, 2024, the proponents of District 2 filed a petition with my office where I performed the prima facie review, and the filing meets the minimum number of unverified signatures to be forwarded to the county elections office for examination and signature verification on the same day. The second petition was filed to recall Councilmember Maurice Goodman representing District 4. The NOI, which is the notice of intent to circulate the recall petition, was received on November 20th. However, the first service was deemed insufficient. So the proponents refiled the NOI on November 28th, and Councilmember Goodman filed an answer to the NOI on December 4th. The petition form was determined to meet statutory requirements on January 2nd. The proponents have 60 days between January 24th to March 2nd to collect the prerequisite number of signatures from District 4. On February 23rd, the proponents filed a petition where I performed the prima facie review, and the filing meets the minimum number of unverified signatures before the county elections for examination and signature verification on the same day. On March 4th, after hours, the county elections office shared the results of their examination and signature verification for both petitions. The petitions were signed by the prerequisite number of voters within each district. The certificate of sufficiency were issued on March 5th, and the proponents and the named recallees were notified on the same day. The recall petition results for Councilmember Cahalan, representing District 2, shows that 1,029 signatures were collected on the petition for verification, 897 of which were reviewed. 666 signatures were found to be valid out of the 607 signatures required to qualify for the ballot. 231 signatures were disqualified, and 132 signatures were not reviewed. Once the minimum number of signatures to qualify for a ballot has been verified, the San Mateo County Elections Office stopped reviewing additional signatures. The recall petition results for Councilmember Goodman, representing District 4, showed 1,264 signatures on the petition for verification, 1,018 of which were reviewed. 797 signatures were found to be valid out of the 794 signatures required to qualify. 221 signatures were disqualified. 249 signatures were not reviewed. As noticed before, once the minimum number of signatures to qualify for a ballot has been verified, the San Mateo County Elections Office stopped reviewing additional signatures. In accordance with the election code, the city clerk, which is the city's election official, is required to present the certified results to the city council at its regular meeting and provide information on next steps to call for a special election. Under Election Code 240, the City Council must issue an order to call for an election to be held not less than 88 days or more than 125 days after the issuance of the order. The time period is between June 22nd to July 29th, 2024 on a Tuesday. The report will be presented to City Council at its next council meeting on March 26th. The Election Code 11241 stipulate if the council does not act within the 14 days as specified, the county elections official must within 5 days set a date for the election. Staff plans to present an order to call for election, the service agreement with the county elections office, and a budget allocation request for City Council's consideration on March 26th City Council meeting. This is my presentation for tonight. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, City Clerk. I appreciate your detailed report. Legal. If you could help explain to us, from this point on, it sounds like based on the next step here, in the next council meeting, which is March 26th, there'll be a discussion item to bring forward for this council to set a special election day. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that is the first opportunity at which we have, in strictly according to the statutory requirement by the state election code, that this must be done on that day.
That is correct.
Okay. And this is not something that is subject to discussion. Is that correct?
You can discuss it, but
In terms of a decision.
There's no discretion.
There's no discretion to be made.
The city council does not have discretion. And as you heard from your city clerk, the election code says that now that we've reached this stage, an election must be called. And if this council doesn't call it, the county election officer will set the date.
And the cost would be the same, whether it is called by the city or by the county?
That is correct.
Okay, good. All right. Any questions or comment from this council based on the report as presented? Councilwoman Schneider.
I guess I'm going to get into the weeds. So we pick a date. Is it a one-day vote, or is it like all of our other elections in California, 30 days prior to the day?
Mail ballot type thing?
Yeah, there'll be mail ballots going out, or we are talking to the elections office about the special election. So it will be the same where a date, just like November 5th would be election year, right? You will get your ballot ahead of time to cast your vote.
And you would have until
Based on
that
election
time
law.
and/or postmarked
Yeah.
by that date.
So it's the same process as a regular election whereby you get your ballots 30 days before the election date, and the election day is the last day to turn in that ballot.
So I guess, Mayor, when this comes back to us on March 26th, could we have a timeline of the election, you know, the same way we do for any other election?
Like the
And that will
breakdown
tell.
of when things are going to go out. Okay.
Well, so it's in the second paragraph of the last page. In this case, the time period is between June 22nd, 2024 and July 29th, 2024. So those are the timeline at which between the 88 and the 125.
Right,
Well,
I get that,
Once we
but
select a date, then we could be able to create a calendar.
That you can backtrack it.
that's
Yeah.
what I
That's
want,
right.
so
Yeah.
that our fellow council members know when I'm assuming they get a statement on something. I mean, I've never done one of these, so that they would have an opportunity to have a statement, that it's included in however we do this. I mean, I never saw statements for local elections this last go-around because nothing ever got mailed to my house on that. So let's just make sure
Okay.
that I just want to know the process, very specific, the process.
So as far as like, you know, what the districts will receive is a ballot. And then also, like, they will have a little description of the answer that the Councilmember Cahalan, also Goodman, filed with the office, where it's part of the petition which was circulated.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same, and your answer will be also provided with the ballot information.
A good calendar would be really lovely.
Yes, once we have established the date, we'll.
Let me just confirm one thing. The only discretion, if any, for the council is to pick the date of the special election. Everything else strictly followed by the state election code
That
and
is
is
correct.
conducted by the county elections office. Is that correct?
That is correct. You can choose a date within that window.
Right. That's the only discretion that this council would ever have on this entire process. Everything else is
It
strictly
must be
by
a
election code.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right, so,
Elections are on
and that's
Tuesday.
also spelled out too, because it has to be a Tuesday and it closes at 8 PM or whatever that timeline is. And so that's the only thing that this council will choose. Everything else just strictly follow the state election code, whatever that is. Any other questions or comments? I have a public comment from Gina Miranda,
Can you have the timer?
3 minute.
Miranda, I'm a longtime resident of Millbrae, and sorry, 2 inches away. I'm Gina Miranda. I'm a longtime resident of Millbrae. I'm wanting to talk about the La Quinta and recall together because it's directly related. The La Quinta issue is multifaceted. And I get it. None of us liked being stepped on by county, and none of us liked losing our revenue, possible revenue over this. But I also wanted to kind of stop this whole push strategy that we have with the homeless everywhere. And I also wanted to stop recalling good people. It's just ugly, and it just seems to be a habit that people have in this state, country, everything. And my question is to people who came to my door and accused 2 good council members of fiscal responsibility. My question to them and to the people that supported them is, how much is all this going to cost? What does it cost? Suing the county is the most expensive thing you can do. I noticed it wasn't on the budget report, and it should be, because that's going to be huge. Having a recall election is huge. It costs a lot of money. And then last but not least, what is this going to cost our community? This divisiveness? I guess my ask is, can we be the role model for our children and for other cities instead of all of this ugliness? This is not the Millbrae I believe in. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miranda. Mr. Steve Rinaldi.
Mayor Fung, rest of the city council, most importantly, residents of Millbrae. I felt it was very important to discuss this issue about the recall, especially after hearing from the last speaker. I've been here for 43 years in Millbrae. We're not going to get every decision we want as residents. That's expected. The reality is that this recall election, a lot of it is being triggered based off the La Quinta and the fact that residents, a lot of whom spoke out by signing a petition with 7,000 people coming to city council meetings in droves, having to wait outdoors, being told by their district leaders, no, that they are going to support a project that's going to fiscally be very irresponsible and cost us an estimated $750,000 per year indefinitely moving forward. If that's not fiscally irresponsible, I don't know what is. And all this talk about what is this recall election going to cost us? Are you kidding me? It's going to be peanuts compared to $750,000 moving forward every year afterwards. So as far as being a resident of 43 years and seeing this for the first time in Millbrae, you know what? The people spoke. People went door to door to get those signatures. And let me tell you, a lot of people are really angry and really upset because they weren't listened to. And the job of a council member is to listen to their district. And remember one thing, and one thing only from this message, make it very clear. You folks work for us. It's not the other way around. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for your time. And I hope when it does come time to vote for the recall, I hope you all support it because we need new leadership here in Millbrae. Losing that TOT and putting us into a bigger fiscal constraint and letting the county walk all over us, no thanks. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Rinaldi. I don't have any further speaker slip. City Clerk, do we have anybody online? I don't see any hands raised.
No, there are no additional hands raised.
Okay, last call for public comment. Closing public comment, bring it back to the council. Any further discussion, questions, comment, anything at all? Okay, so yeah, there is a hand online, I saw that. Okay, so Mr. Nathan Chen?
Okay. Mr. Nathan Chen, please go ahead and accept that mute.
Yes, thanks so much, Council, for this opportunity to speak. My name is Nathan Chan. I've attended many council meetings, as I'm sure you can, I'm a regular attendee of council meetings, and I've noticed that the proponents of the recall have, and the last speaker mentioned how they want to make this about La Quinta. And certainly La Quinta has been a very complex issue that our cities had to deal with. However, the two council members, all of our council members work on multiple initiatives. And I think it's worth drawing attention to at least two initiatives that both Council Member Cahalan and Vice Mayor Goodman work on that I think are very important to this community. Councilmember Cahalan is a member of the East Side Specific Plan Subcommittee. This is a very important initiative for our city to address long-standing issues originating on the east side of Millbrae with respect to traffic circulation, investment in the parks, etc. The other member of that subcommittee is Councilmember Fung. If Councilmember Cahalan is recalled, that would mean the council member who lives on the east side of El Camino is being recalled from that committee. And there's no guarantee that whoever is either appointed to replace her or elected to replace her will be able to represent that perspective. I've also really appreciated Vice Mayor Goodman's comments about social equity and in our city. And he has said time and again and how his lived experience, what he brings from that. I wonder, as a member of that social equity subcommittee, what we would lose if Vice Mayor Goodman was recalled. So I would encourage everyone who has the chance to vote in this recall to think more holistically. Certainly, La Quinta is an important issue, and people are entitled to their own opinion of that, but also think about some of the other things that these council members work on. And is that perspective important? Do you think it's worth, do you think we should be judging them on these other initiatives as well? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chen. Last call for public comment. Seeing none, closing public comment. Bring it back to the council. Any final discussions, questions, comment? Seeing none. This needs a motion to accept.
No, it doesn't. It's only
Well,
information.
we need to accept the certificate of
It's just
sufficiency.
It's
informational.
only informational.
So we don't need to accept it?
There's no action.
No actions? So we'll just come back in 2 weeks with another item to decide on the election date. Okay, all right. So that is the end of item 13. Council comment. Who would like to go first?
Mayor, as we get started, may I just follow up on Councilmember Snyder's comments at the beginning of the meeting? Just for clarity, because I think your comments, Councilmember Snyder, reflected the meeting minutes on the comments under this agenda item. And so under the protocols, the meeting minutes of the city council were recorded as action minutes, which primarily include final motion with votes only. So comments on the record, and we've talked about this in the past, that if a council member desires a verbatim comment to be reflected and included in the minutes, it's his or her responsibility to make that request. So what I recommend is you just simply state, I would like the record to reflect, and then make those comments. Then we can actually, that gives the city clerk the idea, we can take them down verbatim, because then we're not trying to guess, well, did the council member mean this, did the council mean that, and then trying to pick and choose of all the comments, you know, what we include and what we don't include. So based on that, my recommendation, and that this is a good way to resolve it, I believe, just I would like the meeting minutes to reflect, and then we can actually add that in. If that.
Does that address your concern, council member?
Okay.
I said I could try. I typically take notes, and then sometimes what I've liked in the last couple of months or the last month is my ability to say, because I'm on, for example, BPAC, County BPAC, that this is going to come to the new CCAG board. We have a new representative there. Be aware that these actions are going to happen, and this is what does not show up in the CCAG BPAC minutes or in the staff report that CCAG will write to them, because it's been an internal discussion that we've had in terms of equity of bike pedestrian grants. So I think sometimes I'll try. I will definitely practice and try to do that. But sometimes it's complicated because you're thinking and it's 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, and we can help out too, you know, would you like that reflected in the meeting minutes, just so we know? Because there was a time when I first came on board, there was also discussion about the meeting minutes and what we're trying to avoid, which is, well, why'd you put council members' comments in and not my comments? And why'd you do it that way? I don't want those comments. I don't want these. And again, it goes back to the protocols that just reflect action minutes, which are the final motion and the votes, which is why then we go, it's why we record it and we go
Okay.
to that official recording. If that
It's
Can we try
difficult
that,
because
see if
we're
it-
also told to talk to the public by telling a story, and stories don't reflect well in minutes.
Well,
But
but
let me
then-
try one. If I
but
do
if I
council
may-
comments first, I can try one, and you can help me with
If
that.
I may, for further management of the meeting, this part of the agenda is for council members who serve as representatives to various committees that are listed to just simply report on matters of those committees affecting the city of Millbrae.
Okay. Mayor, would you like me to try?
Sure, if you like to.
Okay, Emergency Services Council. For the record, there have been problems with the SMC alert system. I could not, as an example, so for the record, there are problems, and that impacts all of our residents to get the alerts. We've been through this season with weather alerts and things like that, but we had a missing person who happens to be a friend of mine, and I heard about it otherwise. So I had a long discussion with the new Director of Emergency Services that we need to work on SMC alert, because I get Woodside alerts, but I don't get Millbrae alerts. So there's a problem, there's a technical problem, and our staff need to be aware of that. So for the record, we have a technical problem within SMC alert, and can staff look into it? And I believe we still only have 10% of our residents signed up for SMC alert. So I'm not sure how much of that is for the record.
I think we have it. That's helpful.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's just a new way of learning how to put it together. For the record, I will be attending Cal City's policy committee meetings in Burbank next week, and I will also be virtually attending the Bay Area Water Supply and Conservation Agency as one of my allowed rigs for public notice. We will be in the Vine Room at the Los Angeles Marriott Burbank Airport Hotel, Vine Room, and it's already been set with Bosca Board on that. And we will be looking at legislation and funding for those programs. And for staff, and I think I've sent it out, but I may not, the Transportation, Communication, and Public Works Committee sent out a list of a bunch of funds of grants. So I'll make sure that I get that to staff. And with that, I will also say to the mayor, we had talked about we have a graduation of CERT classes, yay, a bunch of new Millbrae people in CERT, great program. But it turns out in trying to get you the names so that we can celebrate them, we haven't celebrated new Millbrae CERT members since 2020. And 2020's class was delayed because of COVID. So I'm working right now on getting the names to get to staff so that we can recognize CERT, our CERT volunteers, and the Leos who were all dressed up and freezing all day in moulage for that event. But congratulations to CERT and all of the new CERT members. Great event on Saturday.
Excellent. Thank you. Who would like to go next? Councilmember Cahalan.
So the March Youth Advisory Committee was canceled, so there's nothing to report out for that. The East Side Specific Plan was mentioned today, and I spoke to the city manager recently so we can get our first subcommittee meeting going soon and get up to speed, so it'd be great to get that on the calendar as soon as possible. This Monday or Tuesday, the San Francisco Airport Roundtable Subcommittee on Ground-Based Noise met. And so we had a good meeting looking at where to place some portable monitors and when to do the studies and recordings for looking at, really specifically looking at that ground-based noise and how it impacts us areas, especially Millbrae closest to the airport. So looking forward to that report. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, no, this is true. Well, I was thinking Millbrae as a city overall, closest to the airport. I wasn't talking about just the airport, because the placement of the monitors goes all the way up to 280, not just closest to the airport. So the CERT was very successful. I'm glad to say I'm one of the new alumni. And it was great to participate, to be able to be a CERT volunteer in the community, especially living on a street that's had flooding over the years. But it was also just so impressive to see the experienced, knowledgeable volunteers and trainers, the way they work with CCFD. Our firefighters are amazing. It was just excellent training and so many great people involved wanting to help and learning from each other. And it was, I mean, we had a full class and people stayed through all 7 weeks and completed the program. So very exciting, a very excellent program. The MEF Gala is coming on March 23rd. They have a casino theme this year. It's always a lot of fun, so I encourage folks to get your tickets and come out and support our Millbrae kids. And then the last item, I think last year by this time, we were starting to look at scheduling our goal setting, and budget season will be here before we know it, so hoping to see goal setting and scheduling for goal setting coming soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cahalan. Ms. Pappen, would you like to go?
Sure, thank you. Okay, we had a meeting regarding our age-friendly communities. The consulting firm that we're working with received some funding from the county. We are trying to get as many questionnaires. We need a significant number of questionnaires. And Hannah, how old do you have to be to do the questionnaire? 55. So we know a lot of people that are 55 and above. If you could please take the time to do the questionnaire, we need a certain number of them to qualify for this funding. So take them to your friends, take them to everybody here. It's really important to get the appropriate information in so that we can improve our community so it is more age-friendly and keep that plan in action. And they'll be talking to city staff as to how they are acting. I mean, it really includes a lot of things you don't even realize. ADA accessibility, all kinds of different equity programs that we have going already in the city. So really making that grow and receiving some funding from it is very, very important. We also had a joint school board meeting with my colleague, Councilmember Cahalan. We are finalizing the agreement on the fields. And hopefully the school board will accept the proposal and we will resolve that soon. We have really been operating, the agreement's already passed, so we have a new agreement moving forward. There was also a meeting of the Resource Management and Climate Protection Committee, which I mentioned in our previous meeting. They do have a lot of information when it comes to recycled water, so hopefully we can use that. I have been in Sacramento for MTC and ABAG, doing some lobbying on 3 main factors. One is REAP, which is the Regional Early Action Plan, which works to coordinate transit, land use, and housing. There was funding for $103 million, which is being clawed back due to budget cuts. And it is really impactful. We are trying to get that funding restored so that technical advice can be given for housing, more transit, so many great programs that are already being enacted, and we hope that that will happen because this is really the type of program that affects our future and affects the future of our children and the whole community. So if they don't do it now, it's going to cost way more later and be too costly. The second item was the housing bond, which they are looking at $10 to $20 billion, and it will support housing. 20% will go to MTC, 80% will go back to source, which means our county. And we can hopefully access some of those funds to help provide more affordable housing within our communities, to restore housing, preserve housing. We have one housing project that is already 100% affordable, but the time lapsing for that may expire. So these are the type of funding that we're looking for there. In addition to that, they are looking at a transportation funding vehicle, which has not yet been defined. That would include also transit, more transformational transit, which means big-time improvements and accountability, and money for roads. Streets and roads, because streets and roads polls at 80%. Everybody wants improved streets and roads. So that was talking to many legislators. I will say that our assembly member stood up for us in front of high-speed rail and is advocating for us there, and clearly stated that she has 2 dogs in this fight, Millbrae and Brisbane. So she is fighting for us to reach resolution on those action items there, and a statement was made by Mr. Kelly that he intends to resolve these matters this year. So that was good. Final items here too, to be clear, reminding everyone, as Mr. Muses said, that this council supports a rally the Palestinian community is putting on here at City Hall at 1 o'clock. And to be clear, we think this is, I believe this council has consensus, is that's the best way to proceed. I have to check with the Vice Mayor. Oh, I don't think he's still with us. But hopefully that will bring our community together and show our support moving forward here. I would also like to reiterate the requests made earlier by the Vice Mayor and myself. We had an interesting item on the agenda, and I really think we need to evaluate doing away with districts, giving the voters their vote on all council members, and really turning towards a mayor at large. So I hope to see that again at a very future. I hope this council, if we can, we're supposed to try to get some consensus as that kind of thing works for moving forward here. I know the Vice Mayor mentioned it, so I do hope that that happens very soon. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Pappen. Did you have a follow-up?
This was just, the mayor and I serve on the legislative committee. We do need to get that committee going. With, I think, the passage of the one proposition in last week's election, I haven't heard if it's
still up in the air?
It's still up in the air, but
Yes.
reading the details, it directs money to Project Home Key. So I think we need to get together and give direction to our lobbyists on that, and make sure that we're protecting any of our economic
That
resources.
was
in
more,
Millbrae.
yeah, but that was more toward mental health.
I hope so, but yeah, I've been reading different sources, and it could be that the sources are not writing it correctly, but let's get our lobbyists ready to keep an eye on it.
Okay.
And also, and also Michelle Rubikova should be able to brief us on the detail of those legislations so
Hopefully
that
that
we
would
are.
be good. And if I could add to, the housing measure really depends on a constitutional amendment lowering the voter approval to 55% instead of the current high mark. It will not likely pass unless that threshold is lowered. So according to their numbers, it's on the verge here, and we really need to bring communities together here. We do not need advocacy groups criticizing cities. We need to bring people together here because we realize the importance of affordable housing, and we'd like to try to work through that in the future. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Coming this Friday, March 15, the Mills High School robotic team, Bobabot, will be celebrating their 25 years of upholding the spirit of robotics in Mills High School and spreading the team's passion for STEM throughout the Millbrae community. So congratulations to the Mills High School robotic team. I'll be joining their celebration. Also congratulate to all the CERT members who graduated last weekend, all 23 of you. There's no better gift to bring safety to your families, your neighbors, and your community. The knowledge you learned, the skills that you learn, will be very useful to the community where you live in. Again, you signed up to this job because you say yes to your community, to your city. And then when disaster happens, you sign up to be the first one to lead your community out of the harm's way. And so that's the best gift you can give to your community. So to that, I congratulate all 23 of you, including Ms. Cahalan, who were part of that program. Big hands to all the CERT graduates. And we will be bringing this commendation in April. Is it in April? Okay, so we will coordinate with staff to. Okay, so I will be coordinating that with staff to declare that CERT Volunteer Day. We'll pick a day at which we can bring everybody on board to celebrate their commitment and their accomplishment. So thank you for that. As Councilmember Pappen said a moment ago, the Palestinian community is looking to hold a vigil this coming Saturday in front of City Hall, right here in the Constitutional Square at 1 p.m. I encourage everybody to join. This is your opportunity to support your own community. And so it's never been more important that we support each other in the city and in this community. So I encourage everybody to join. And with that, tonight, I'd like to close our council meeting and dedicate to a dear friend of San Mateo County and to the people of Millbrae, Mr. George Mozingo. He completed his journey in life in the morning of March 8th with his wife, Layla, by his side. During his tenure, he served in the office of Supervisor Adrian Tessier's office, and then later as the Government Affairs Director of Sam Carr. He dedicated his wisdom and commitment to San Mateo County for over 20 years. And I had the privilege to know the man for over a decade, even before I entered public service. And George is a man of courage and his humor. I still remember in 2020, he would be the one who threatened me weekly until I had agreed to run for public office for the same year. And he's someone I would be proud to call a mentor, a lion, and a true friend. A couple of years ago, when he told me that he was fighting with his cancer, he once said if he cannot beat this cancer, that he would take it to heaven with him. I would say he is a man of his words. So as we celebrate the life of George Mozingo, we pay tribute to this wonderful man for what he has accomplished, for what he's done for all of us. And our thoughts and prayers are with Layla, and we're grateful for her generosity to share George with all of us. And I adjourn this meeting tonight at 10:13 p.m. Good night, everybody.